Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican, please, Verbis Latinus.
Now we're not stolen.
All right, I'm ready. Oh no, so close. I waited, it was perfect, and then I completely messed up the last. There we go. Now I'm ready. Oh man, I thought this is gonna be the Thursday when I do everything right on the open. This would be it. It's so close, and then I didn't have the screens adjusted the right size. Welcome, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, this afternoon, and this evening for a few of you. A few crazy diehards, which we love. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are amazing. It's Thursday all day today. Surprise, surprise. Guess what we don't have today? Court. No Letitia Stout today. The judge actually has a regular docket schedule that he's going to be following. I'm gonna do a couple things. Hang on just one second. Let me turn that back off. I'll make a couple changes because today is a light and happy day. And I think maybe we can go ahead and turn on this and even that. There we go. Wow, it's going to be a fun day. All right. We probably should. Welcome, Sharon McDonald. First in chat again. Sharon has won many times. I'm not sure what the punishment should be, or prize, should be for someone who wins as much as Sharon does. But thank you so much, Sharon, for being first in chat. The internet is all yours, probably for the whole day, quite honestly, because we're probably only going to have a half day. You guys found the sounds I turned on. We're probably only going to do a half day today. We've got a couple things lined up. We probably do a little bit more relaxed show today because honestly, we need a break. After listening to almost 5 straight hours of Letitia and Al fighting over the phone, we need a light day. We need a rest. Our ears need a break. Why is the party on? Did I turn the party on? Hang on, I have to turn the party off. Hang on one second. The party is too much. Let's see. A couple of you are getting away with it for a moment, but I'm going to catch it here. Boom, boom. That was the last one. It is now off. All right, party's turned off. Thank you, Sharon McDonald, internet winner. I believe you have a plaque certifying your win. I think you've already gone ahead and ordered that. I missed early on, and I apologize. Let me scroll back. We had a new member come in. It doesn't track it until before I go live. Somebody joined as a new member this morning, and I don't know who it was, and I am so sorry. It disappeared right as I saw it happen. I do see that Not Today Satan gifted 5 memberships this morning, just to kick things off first thing this morning, and G Smith as well says, "Oh, G Smith won the membership. Thanks for the membership, whoever did that." Thank you so much, and thank you Not Today Satan for 5 gifted memberships as well, and whoever I missed, I do apologize. I missed who it was, and I'm so sorry. I wish it would save this. We have quite a few people in chat. I will tell you, first of all, I'll tell you what the plan is today, so you can decide whether you want to hang around or get something productive done. Either way, we are going to watch yesterday's police chase from Florida, Broward County. There was a crazy police chase. It's fairly short. It's about
stole it as well.
Start to finish, I think half an hour or so. but it has just about everything in it, and it's probably one of the top police chases of the year. So we're going to watch that. We also, I think, are going to go back to revisit briefly, if I use that word loosely, the Mark Jensen sentencing. Because I've heard that it's absolutely fantastic, that the judge was eloquent, that it was something we have to watch. I'm hoping that it's not too spicy. The fewer pickles that are mentioned, the better, but over there. But we're going to try to drop in and listen to that. That happened about 5 days ago, so that happened while we were doing the Letitia Stout trial. I just want to catch up because we did cover a lot of that case, and we even have a lot of sound effects from that case. So I do want to sort of put a bookend on that and sort of file it away in the we won't go there again category. But that's the plan. Quick shout out to some of the people here in chat. I realize there are quite a few. I'm going to this probably will be a quieter day. Like if you don't like a busy day in chat, this will probably be it, because the court case doesn't bring in a lot of the people who are trying to watch that. It's sort of like dialing it back a few weeks on the channel. So now's the time to talk and chat and be heard. I can probably turn off. If slow mode is on, I'm going to turn that off as well. Just 1 second. I'm checking, and slow mode is now off. There we go. All right. Lisa, Meanie Banana, welcome. Sharon McDonald, Toxic Orchid, Polly Prissy Pants, Red Pen, Anna Exilia. I don't know how to say your last name, Anna. Exilia? I'll need a pronunciation guide, and I'll probably still butcher it, but I'll try. DSN is here. Katrina, welcome. And G. Sharon McDonald, of course, has the internet. 6-volt bus. Thank you, my friend, for being here. Yes. Both can cause hearing loss. Earplugs for everybody. Mary Murphy, welcome. Shirley Barnett, sorry. We got you, Lisa, Polly, Deadhead 420. Red Pen, good morning to you.
Alex Stollett.
Toxic Orchid is in the house. Julie Fraser. Thomas, hello, welcome. Good to have you here. Ivy Berlin, I'm so ready to win the internet today. One day you will. One day. You're getting very, very close. Let's see, KX Star, welcome. Jill Ballard, Ritz, Abby, Sharon McDonald, Lisa Bala.
Let no dead horse go unbeaten.
Let no dead horse. Speaking of horses, Hold Your Horses is here. And he objects to that sound effect. Or she, sorry. Hold Your Horses objects to that sound effect. Red Pen, Christy Aiken, Amanda G. A lot of people taking their seats. VZF Baby, welcome. Squirrel. Brita Aller, welcome, Brita. Pete Stone, Shauna Casey, Rona Fallis, Tracy Anzer. Content Lasagna is here, welcome. Tamara, is that Tamara or Tamara?
Just subject matter jurisdiction.
Teresa, Marilyn Skull. Hello, Marilyn. Thank you so much for being such an amazing supporter of the channel. You are incredible. Thank you. Babs09X. Angie, Shells, Sibon. Finally joined the Facebook group. Awesome. We're going to be doing a little bit more with Facebook. Specifically,
taking it easy.
The goal is to dual stream our show, to be both on Facebook and on YouTube. And I can't do that until the fiber internet connection comes in. It's supposed to be available as early as
They'll
tomorrow.
install it as well.
But whether or not they actually install it then, or I have to wait another month, we'll see. But that's going to be something that happens. We might do a little more expansion of what we do on Facebook side. Bella, Ritz as well, Lisa, Meanie Banana, Tracy Anzar, Andrea Hillis, welcome. G. Smith, Ritz, we got you. Lisa, where's your sister? Where's Lauren? She's the quiet one. Lisa and Lauren, welcome. Wayne Hatchell is here as well. Lynn Hoke, Miss Priss, welcome Miss Priss. Sunshine Sarah, Texas Val, Bella. Starting suddenly so he can do a roll call. Yes, we're trying to do the roll call. If I can get caught up. I'm out of practice. It's been quite a few days. It's not quite real. I know what it is. I don't have my water. Sorry, this has to happen, guys. We have the red mug today. It already tastes delicious. I got a funny text from someone. I won't say their name, but they said that yesterday when I did the water pouring. Their pet was on their lap, and as they heard the water pouring sound, the pet jumped off and looked at them with disgust and walked away. so I thought that was pretty funny. All right, now we're ready. That's better. Let's see if this roll call works a little bit better. Okay, we got Hold Your Horses, Teresa, Lynn Hoke, Eileen Thurling, Deadhead420, Shauna Casey. Says there's a Facebook group. Yes, type exclamation point FB in chat, and you can get the link over there. That would be fantastic to have you join us. Patches is here. Lisa, we got you. Ritz, Polly Prissy Pants, Amanda, Pampered Glamper. Hello, Pampered Glamper. Vicky Corner. Hope is here with hands up. Wonderful. KH in South Carolina. Good morning. Bunny as well. Toxic Orchid, Strawberry Dawn. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the gallery. Love that you've joined us here. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hold Your Horses. We got that. Ray Myers, Lydia Vaz. Buenos dias. Or Buenos dia. Buenos dia. I think is how I'm supposed to say that. Ritz, Pampered Glamper. Be kind. Of all the things you can be, be kind. That's a good one. Thank you very much. Be kind for being here. Toxic Orchid, Shirley Barnett. Red Pen. I want to hear about a Recovery Addict's garage project is coming along. Surely, that's one of the things I have to do this afternoon. Right now, where it's at is I have to order 100 feet of Cat 5 shielded, Cat 6 shielded internet cable, and I'm trying to decide if I want it already terminated with the plugs on the end, if that will fit through the pipe that I've already laid and buried. That's going to be under cement next week, which is going to be awesome. Or if I have to just push the cable and then terminate it myself with my own plugs. But that's where I'm at for today. To get that ordered is my goal. The project is coming on beautifully. We've passed the inspection for plumbing and water. We've done all our pressure tests for all of our drains, or the water system. And it's fantastic. We're like moving along very quickly. We just got about $1,000 worth of, holy cow, is expensive, $1,000 worth of electrical lines for the mains, because we have to rerun the power mains, because the ones that are currently run are just buried. They're not in a conduit, and so we thought we were going to just pull it through, but because they're direct buried, you can't pull it. There's too much tension. So we have to run new lines, and it just adds more cost every time we find a problem. But that's going to happen here soon. We've got all the wire ready to go, the grounds. It's going to be good. It'll be nice to have power out there, so we're not working in the dark either, because we only have one window right now and one door. We still have the other 2 or 3 windows and the other door to put in as well. Your Red Pen says, geez, I thought I still had lots of time for a shower. Red Pen, sorry, we started a little early today. Janice Ritz, KX Star, Deadhead, Shirley Barnett, welcome. Katrina's here. Lisa, where's your friend, Lisa? Where's your sister? Come out wherever you are. Lauren, we know you're here. Julie Fraser, welcome. Ritz, Amanda G. Texas Val is here. Good morning. Deanna the Audio Bird, good morning to you. Monique Holmes, good morning, everyone. Jennifer Perut, Red Pen, Lisa Mini Banana, Ritz, Tracy Anzar, Katrina Lee, Nomadic Dragon, love the name. Welcome, good to have you here this morning. Let's see, Rich Sharon, Ritz, Kickstar, Hope. Good, her voice haunted me in my sleep. Did anyone else dream about those phone calls? I am so sorry. We do have tomorrow, just by way of warning, I'll excuse anyone who wants to be late tomorrow, because we do have one more phone call, and I think it is it's evidence number 59. It's 29 minutes long. So if you want to be half an hour late, just to save your ears, I would understand. I'll give you the pass tomorrow for sure. Pamper Glamper, we're all mad here. Good morning. Denise Feldman Ersland, welcome. Lee's here with the party. And G, Anna, Red Pen. See, now I finally caught up to win Not Today Satan gifted 5 memberships. That's how far behind I am. TLC Bell, Ritz, Monique Holmes, Ray Myers. It was gifted membership. Monique Holmes, Ray Myers, G. Smith, Andrea DCS, and Nana Geek Joellen, all gifted memberships by Not Today Satan. Great pick, Not Today Satan. Great people all around. Margaret R., welcome. Karen Dietrich, TLC Bell. Colorado Mountain Girl, welcome. How's the weather out there? I was following some news stories from the sort of the Mountain West region, and apparently the warm weather is a huge problem with your snowpack. Dangerous flooding, mudslides, and Okay, little side story, because we have time, because we don't have a court we have to jump to. Let me tell you a side story. As dangerous as it is, with all the snowpack, with all the mudslides and things that can happen when this happens, I loved it growing up in that part of the country because I liked gold panning. I like metal detecting. I like looking for gold. And there are a couple places where you can still find gold in the United States. Like, honestly, you can go out legally, you can pan for gold and find gold that you can see with your eyes, not just with like a magnifying glass, and, you know, pick up with your fingers and have little chunks of it. And in those places, on years like this, when there's a high spring runoff, it actually gathers that gold that's in the valley, in the wash, you know, on the hillside, and it washes it back down into the river, and it just replenishes the gold. And it's like it's a brand new river as far as the gold availability. So those that like to go out and do that, and I'll give you a hint. If you're in Utah specifically, American Fork Canyon above Tibble Fork Reservoir. First of all, it is super dangerous as far as snakes and wildlife, bears, mountain lions, everything up there. Be careful when you're up there. Take a friend. Don't do what I do. It's also dangerous because it's very steep. But that canyon up above Tibble Fork Reservoir is a fun one to go metal detect, and I found some pretty nice nuggets out of there. Anyway, so stay safe in the spring runoff, but also go find yourself some gold. So, right, Julie is here. Nice to be here. I'm still exhausted from yesterday's phone calls. You and me both. My ears are still ringing. Of course, they always do. Ritz, Rockin' Dawkins SC, Lee, Tracy Anzar, Abby, Bella. I was able to catch up at 1.75 speed. That voice decibel is harmful to your health. Hold your horses, Bunny, Pampered Glamper. I was watching with Mrs. Ari actually this morning. The DUI guy who was he's part of what I would call Lawtube, the people that follow true crime and court cases online. He's a lawyer. He does specialize in DUI defense in his personal practice, I think, but he covers a lot of cases. He was at the Johnny Depp, or at least I think he was at Johnny Depp. He did a lot of commentary during that time. He covered the Alex Murdaugh trial. He was down there with James from court, things like that. And he did a show yesterday, a live show where he brought in a special guest, and for several minutes of that show, they talked about us and something that happened during the Zachariah Anderson trial. And I listened and I watched the first time. I jumped right to the sounds to the point where he was talking about us. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I like his take, you know, because he was talking about, you know, the impact of the judge listening to our live stream and what that could mean for the case, what that could mean, you know, legally, because it's never really happened before. There's no precedent for this. And I really appreciate all his input and everything. Didn't ever mention us directly, which is fine, because his focus was on the judge and what that would do to the case. I went back and watched it with my wife because I realized that his special guest that he had on the show was Zachariah Anderson's brother. I'm like, wow. Anyway, very interesting. If you like watching the DUI guy, his take's a little bit different. Obviously, his presentation is a little bit different than mine, but he is worked in this field for a long time, and I do like hearing educated minds discuss things that are important to me. Anyway, so that was yesterday. That was fun. Let's see. Kelly Harper's here. Who else did I miss? Patches Bunny. Van. Good morning, Van. Ritz is dying. Debbie Blair. Welcome, Debbie. Monique Holmes. Ritz, I think you're joking about the dying part. That's why I laughed. Nems Girl is here. Welcome. 6 Foot Bus. We got you, Janet Kaufman. Welcome. Has anybody got a birthday today? Yes, I'm up for singing today. If anyone has a birthday, let's see.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Subject matter jurisdiction. Let's see. Do we need to pull a Tisha and stuff your mouth with TP? This is horse sheet and bananas. Linda Hill, welcome. Right, Julie, Mr. Man. Morning from the UK. Thank you for joining us from across the pond. Got some good friends over there. Weather Watch. Another side note. Tomorrow, our podcast with Weather Watch, Thomas, is going to be at 9 p.m., and it's going to be a lot of fun. Can I say anything more than that, Weather Watch? Is that legally I'm constrained to limit my disclosures prior to the actual airtime to that. But 9 p.m. tomorrow instead of 8 p.m., so it's an hour later. I do apologize for those that already are up in the wee hours of the morning trying to watch. I will say for you, I will put it on the playlist, and you can watch it on the replay. And you were excused from being in attendance because of that. I do understand. Buffy Bot is here. Kelly J, Shirley Barnett, Matthew Harris Law. Good morning. I did not take the quiz this morning. I realize I have neglected my duties there, and you even told me it was going to be a difficult one. So let me go ahead and do that live. Is that Matthew? Do I have permission to like show your screen live on my stream here? Can I share my screen? Is that okay with that? Are you okay with that? Let's see. It might spoil it for other people. So let's see. Matthew says, Lisa, I did make an insanity related video for today. Can insane people testify in court? Cannot wait to see that one. That is going to be awesome. That is going to be so good. Yes, please do. Okay, here we go. So we're going to move this over here just so you don't see all the clutter that is my desktop. It went away. What did I do? I hit the shrink button instead of the grow button. That's what I did. It's so small and it's all the way across the room. I have to make it big on the screen. All right, here we go. We're going to switch to right here. All right, so I'm on Matthew Harris's law page right here. Matthew Harris Law. We're going to jump right there, and let's see. I think it's on the community tab right here. Let me get rid of this text message from Matthew Harris just for a minute. Okay, here we go. We're going to zoom in and we're going to take this quiz together. Maybe you guys can. Maybe I can use the phone a friend method. It says, "True crime pop quiz. An individual can later be prosecuted for conduct that was not criminal at the time the act was committed." So hang on, I'm not gonna peek at chat yet. I'm gonna think this one through. An individual can be later prosecuted for conduct that was not criminal at the time the act was committed. Once I get this, and you guys all go to this page, you're all gonna be getting it right. Because if I get it wrong, you guys will guess the other, and if I get it right, you'll guess what I guess. So this is really not fair. I think I'm number 17 or so on the quiz today. Okay, I'm thinking, going through my head, I'm thinking about being grandfathered in. Okay, and usually we're not talking about criminal law, but if you do something before a law was passed, you're exempt from it in the grandfather's standard. So if I, for instance, if I sold a gun, I don't know why I went to a gun. Let's make it a little simpler. If I shouted obscenities from my rooftop. And currently, I think it's legal. It's not very polite, but it's legal. If I did that today, and later there was an ordinance passed that says, or a law passed that you could not do that, it would probably get struck down by First Amendment. But assuming that's not true, I'm going to say you can't go back and charge me. So I'm going to say false on this one. And explanation. Oh, I got it correct. The U.S. Constitution expressly forbids criminal ex post facto, Latin for after the fact, laws. It wouldn't be fair to prosecute you for doing something that was legal at the time you did it. Did you get this one right? Tell me how you knew. Tell me how you knew in the comments. Well, Matthew Harris, I'm sort of proud of myself there. I promise I didn't cheat. I didn't. You can look at my eyes. I didn't look over and get any hints from you guys. But thank you very much for the quiz of the day. Hopefully you guys are all doing the quiz as well. If you are not following Matthew Harris and making that a daily habit, I recommend you do it strongly. It's a lot of fun. Okay, did I get through everybody? I did not. Let's hurry and wrap up on the roll call here. Just one second. Keep guessing. Andrea Hills, Michelle Johnson, Tabitha M80, Linda Vaz. You guys are all saying false. I already answered. So you guys are getting it right. Baby Bear, Mr. Upper Torso, Wayne Hatchell, Jacko Foree, welcome. Brita Aller, Tam Hernandez, Don Blair, Connie Hegner, Agnes Sky. Hi there, welcome. Let's see, I think I got most of you. Dennis Menard. Okay, here's what we'll do. I'm down at the bottom. Cass, Marina Girl, Goodman Law Firm. Good morning, Nicole. Thank you, Matthew Harris, for that. I feel sort of proud. I do say, and I will say it again, that everything I know about law I learned from Matthew Harris. He was generous and kind enough as when he saw me as a fledgling live streamer to gently correct me in my ways as I careened recklessly down the path of legal analysis. And so I do credit him with all my legal knowledge. Unfortunately, Matthew, I also blame you if I don't know because you didn't teach me. so if I get something wrong, it's also your fault. Mr. Upper Torso is here. Correct. Hence why the guns enhancement charges against Baldwin were dropped. The law was created because of the Rust shooting. So you can't create a law and then charge someone for it. Thankfully, because, I mean, honestly, you tick off some lawmakers and they're like, I'll get you. I'm going to pass a law to say what you did yesterday was illegal. That would be a mess. Our legal system would just be a mess. Alfred Rosler, welcome. Kelly Harper, Akita Lover, Michelle Johnson, Linda Vaz, Jacqueline Lynch, Bella, and G. Let's do this. Gordon, I see you're late. That's all right. If I missed you in chat and you really want your name called out in the roll call, that one vegan girl, I see you. Go ahead and put I'll allow it just today. We'll put a lot of emojis in chat. Just whether it's a hand signal or something, smiley faces. That way I can call you out and mark you present on the roll because that's important for your grade. It does count against your grade, just so you know. I won't tell you the percentage, but we'll do that here really quickly. Golden Girl, Aussie Gardner. Welcome, Aussie Gardner. Good to see you here. Eddie, Rollin' Steady. Alfred Rosler. Stovetop Sue, welcome. I love the emojis you went with. They're like themed. Eddie comes in with all earplugs, which is justifiable. Baseball Dad, welcome. Aramis Duran, welcome. CC is here. Miss Priss, Red Pen with the hot pockets and the Red Pen. Did you ask for the mitt to be changed direction? Is that what you wanted the other day? Somebody asked for me to fix the mitt so that it was flipped over, so like the thumb was up instead of down. Is that what you want, or do you need like an extra emoji so we have a left and a right? Because I thought oven mitts were generally ambidextrous. You just which side's front or back. Harley Girl 9mm, thank you. Good morning. Bridget Calderon, Betsy, Vert Femme, welcome. Would that be? Is that Green Girl? I think it's Green Girl. My French teacher might be either proud of me or very disappointed right now, but I'm going to go with Green Girl, especially because your profile picture may support that. Mr. Upper Torso is here. Katrina, welcome. Michelle Johnson says, I flunked my first law school quiz. Happens to the best of us. Elena, good morning. Miss Bella. Queen Olive. Lots of people. Dutchy. Morpheus 5. Welcome, Katrina. Marcy C. Did you hear the lady that threw her living newborn child in dumpster was found guilty and released from jail until sentencing? I did hear that. Tragic situation. Speaking of laws, recent laws, so many states have laws that are designed specifically to prevent that from happening now. First of all, the situation that typically it's young girls that get in where they're pregnant and not able to, or feel that they're not able to handle or support or provide for a child. There are so many laws that allow them to basically drop the baby at the door, ring the bell, and go and walk away without any penalty. And it's to prevent situations just like that. And it's tragic when the baby is dumped, literally in the garbage, disposed of. When there are so many people who would be willing to say, I would adopt. And so most fire stations, most hospitals have places where a young mother can go and just say, I can't, and it's a heart-wrenching decision for them to make. I could never judge them for that decision. Honestly, I could never be in that position because I'm a guy, first of all, but I don't blame or criticize or tell them what they should do in any situation there. But I love the fact that the laws exist that allow someone that feels that's the road they need to go on, can just drop their baby off somewhere where they say, the baby's safe, it'll be taken care of, we'll take it from here. Suzanne, welcome. Denise, Linda Hill, Polly Prissy Pants says, I'm the new member. Lisa Wilmot says my name 3 times fast. Polly Prissy Pants, Polly Prissy Pants, Polly Prissy Pants. There, I might have got it. Ashlyn K, Queen Olive Sir Breezy, welcome. Angelina Cox, welcome. Sweet 65, Kelly Harper as well. Okay, I see we've got most of the emojis. Lisa, I see you. Eileen, Lisa Wilmot, got you again. Okay, so I think we've called that a safe haven law. Thank you so much for that. Safe haven law. There's some places where it's even set up so there's a room, a drop off, that it's completely anonymous. Obviously, there's some ways you can drop off the baby, and it like rings the fire bell for help to come. Not to arrest the mom, because there's no crime there. They're saying that it's legal to do this, but to get help for the child immediately, because a lot of times those newborn infants need immediate critical care. All right, let's see. So a couple questions. She's got an order one, costs money to start a new life, and she's got nothing. Yeah. That's why every state needs safe haven baby boxes. Carmen says, must I be a member for RA to see me? Yes, unfortunately, Carmen, I can't see this message. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're great. The best thing you can do, if you, I will say, colors do draw attention, but I don't have any preference to, obviously super chats pop up on screen automatically, so I can't really stop that from happening. But to get my attention, if you're not a member, the best thing to do is just flag me with my name, like Rockin' Dawkins did right here. Just type @RecoveryAddict. If you're on a computer, it's easier than if you're on a phone, because you start typing my name and it will just auto-populate. You can just click the button. But that way it'll show up in orange on my screen, and I'll be able to see that someone's trying to reach out to me, and then I can read it. But Carmen, welcome, first of all. Thanks for being here. I do apologize. If you've been here a few times, you'll know that the tool I use to read chat is very flawed. And every time it updates, it sort of just clears off a bunch of stuff. And sometimes I lose pages of text that I never get to see. So I do apologize. If I seem to be overlooking you and you're trying to get my attention, I'd like to blame it on that tool, because I don't want anyone to feel overlooked. I do try to answer all the questions and everything I can. Obviously, sometimes it's not appropriate timing for me to answer the questions when they pop up, and we try to get to them later. Harley Girl 9MM, welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much for joining. It's good to have you here. Appreciate it. What part of the country or the world are you from? I'd love to find out. Mary Murphy, thank you. Good morning from Tampa, y'all. Hit that like button on the way in. Thanks, Gail Pett. Good to have you here. KJ says, I missed the last hour or so of court last night. Worth going back to catch up. Kate, do you have earplugs? The last hour of court was more audio recordings. And really, almost all these phone calls sound like, as soon as you start hearing it, you're like, I've already heard this, right? I've already heard the screeching. I've already heard the back and forth. So little progress is gained in the actual conversation back and forth that it almost seems worthless. But every time she tells another story, there's little shreds of truth in it. And that's the reason why we're hearing all these calls. So there wasn't a lot. I say you can skip the last hour and you'd be fine, but it shouldn't be a problem. Will you be covering the Delphi murders trial? Do you think they'll allow broadcasting? That's the question right there, Ashlyn. I think they will not allow broadcasting on that one. But we're probably following the developments. Obviously, we'll probably talk about it a little bit, like on a day like today. Let's see. Akita Lover says we have that law in Connecticut. You can go to the fire department, police, hospital. Yep. All of those are locations. Some doctors' offices and things like that allow that as well. I forgot where I was reading that. Let's see. Jimmy Lawson says Pamela. I'm struggling with the name Pamanas. Florida here, says Jimmy Lawson. just Florida. Me and my sister, Jimmy. I don't know why I cannot say Panama. Oh my goodness. Be kind. I watched at 1.5 this morning. My ears are ringing.
Are we going to address subject matter?
I already told you. Oh my goodness. Yada, yada, yada. All of it. What's the prosecution trying to get out of this call after call? Ed, I think the big thing they're trying to prove is going towards their responsibility, their requirement or burden to prove that she was not insane at the time. And as she is able to tell these stories and think on her feet and cover her tracks and keep things straight and shuffle all these different balls that are in the air regarding this, I think that goes to prove that she was not insane, which is one of the things they have to do. For those of you new in chat, type an exclamation point followed by one of the commands to make a chat more interesting, like this one. Horse. Yes, thank you. that's how the commands work. If you ever need to see what the commands are, you could just type !commands in chat, and that will show you the list. But only do it like once a minute or so. We did turn down the phone levels on the audio calls. I don't know how people could watch this on a channel that just played the volume straight from the court, because that high end was piercing. It was piercing. I just had to like trim off that high end
For the record, I don't
quite a bit.
consent to that name.
There's Mr. Brooks. I hope her hair wasn't awful, was it? Anna, I think we're going to see more hair from her. She has started doing sort of outlandish and strange hairstyles. First she came into court, she's like, oh, she looks neat. She's got her hair pulled back. It might have even been in a braid. But by the end of the day, she had this funky, up on the top of the head, rhinoceros horn, lopsided look that was, I'm not saying it's bad. I mean,
bring the jury.
People can wear their hair any way, which way they want, but it did not look, it didn't look like a hairstyle. It looked like a bunching them up on the hair and just like leaving it type thing. It was strange. It was really weird. I think she's trying to look crazy. Lydia is representing Philly, PA. Welcome, Lydia. Voyager as well. Kelly Harper from Germany. Good to have you here, Kelly. Kimberly Harper from Denton, Texas. Probably no relation, I'm guessing, from Germany. Don't use horses. Hold your horses. It's important to remember we have a full view of Letitia now. Her mask isn't pulled off, but please don't underestimate a toxic person's ability to fake a wonderful persona. They fool many. Oh my goodness. I just got who was it? A 6-volt bus just sent a little picture in chat. I think it's a screenshot from, what's that movie? Oh my goodness, it's the craziest movie.
No dead horse go unbeaten.
Why do I think 6th? 6-volt, you need to tell me what that movie is. I've seen it. It's absolutely crazy. It has the most bizarre outfits and everything. It's a space movie, very futuristic. Fifth Element. I was thinking 6th. Fifth Element. It's almost the 6th element. All right, so let's do this. Good morning, Chris. Good to have you here.
There's a lawsuit.
There's a lawsuit. Letitia looked like a Who from down in Whoville. Every Who down in Whoville. Liked Christmas a lot. I have that whole book memorized, just so you know. I can't read it on air because it's a copyright, but it's a fun book. We read it as a family every Christmas. It's a tradition. A flock of seagulls' hair. That is literally the best definition I've seen, Courtney. That is fantastic.
I'm not a camel.
Not a camel. Fifth Element was super artistic. G. Smith, I like the way you say that. It definitely had a lot of very unique presentations, and just everything about it was very unique. Okay, agenda today. Judy, we should probably get to that since you guys are being so patient. Let's go ahead and get this pulled up. We have first a police chase, which...
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Probably should. Give me a second here to get this pulled up and ready. Go to YouTube on that one.
I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. Okay, hold tight. We're getting there. Why is it not working? There we go.
Alex stole it as well.
Had this all ready and then it didn't work. So we're almost ready. We'll go back here. Okay, so this is
vehicle could be a white
this
Lexus.
is our police
At the
chase
top
from
of your
yesterday.
Screen there, going northbound on the Florida Turnpike, started in Miami-Dade
This
County.
is
This car
Feeling
driver
fully
is
emasculated after
lying.
last night's
Has
detective
not given
daddy
anybody, as
reveal.
far as we know,
Trouble,
no accidents.
intrigue,
Ralph Abrams has been
disturbed.
following this chase for us, Ralph?
Hi, Lynn. Good afternoon. This is a vehicle, the white vehicle
we're
that
gonna
you
listen
see at
just
the top of the screen there. That white Lexus was reported stolen, was part of a carjacking that occurred, an attempted carjacking that occurred earlier this morning down in US 1 around, I want to say 250th Street, something like that.
So we're going to turn that volume down just for a little bit. So we in the car chase we have going, the white car at the top of your screen is basically it's Holland. The other cars are going 65, 70 miles an hour, just for perspective. Okay, and it's passing them very quickly. So we're probably in the triple digits as far as speed goes. It covers 3 counties. We've got already a carjacking situation. We know that weapons are involved, and we're going to see more of that as it goes. Dean Sparks, thank you so much for the super chat. You had some hilarious comments on Brandy's live stream last night. Ivy says, looks like an ordinary day on the German Autobahn. It really does. This guy is hauling. The guy is moving. Does this include balloons? Okay. I think I missed another super chat somewhere. Did something... Hang on one second. Let me see if I can re-trigger that. I heard a sound and it didn't play. All right, here. It looks like Sarah Lawrence sent a super chat. It didn't show a message attached to it for me. So I do apologize, Sarah. Thank you for the super chat. Not sure why it did that. Why it didn't show up. But this chase is going to go very quick. We've got about half an hour. We'll bring up some audio again so we can hear what's going to happen.
We are following this vehicle. We do know that the police are following the vehicle. The 2 suspects allegedly inside wanted for an armed carjacking that occurred earlier today, Lynn.
So I was going to ask you if you could ask your pilot, Joe, how fast you guys are going, and if you could guesstimate how fast this driver's going. He's been flying across all these people.
I'm not hearing any IFB at all right now. If anybody downstairs can hear me, I'm sorry about that. I can't hear
guys
anything.
I can't hear you.
Continue to talk, Lynn. Then where are we now, Joe? We're just passing Atlantic, coming up on Covens Road, northbound. This white Lexus vehicle, sports vehicle that was taken earlier today. And
this is a high-end
what they call
car.
an armed 29. I mean, somebody had a weapon of some kind or displayed a weapon of some kind as a threat to get the vehicle. A driver gave up the keys, and two people hopped in that vehicle and took off in it. They read a bolo, that's a be on the lookout for that vehicle, over the Miami-Dade police radio there earlier this morning, describing the vehicle and giving the tag number and that information out to all agencies. The vehicle
I think the trial has at least over a week.
I think the driver realized that maybe 2 weeks. We see the vehicle go right around another vehicle in the breakdown lane. Very dangerous situation. Want to remember to advise our viewers that this is live,
awesome,
and it's unedited.
Welcome, Harley,
we don't know what's
Missouri.
going to happen here. Sometimes these things end badly. Sometimes they end up when the vehicle has an accident or runs out of gas, or the driver just decides to give up. But right now, this driver is going at a very, very fast pace here northbound. Where are we coming up on, Joe? Coming up on Sample Road right now. That's Sample Road. We just went under.
We'll turn it down here for a little bit. We're going to keep talking a little bit about the case while we watch this. This chase happened yesterday during lunch. I was out cooking hot dogs for my kids when this chase happened. It had 1 hour, and it happened in that time.
Carjacking that occurred earlier. I apologize, but my normal communications to the station and through the system there, I'm hearing nothing but static on the
I'm not showing your messages. Sorry about that.
Me a question or
put your messages
or want
up.
to say something, I'll just stop talking here.
Amy Winehouse hair. That's also a good description of Letitia's style.
Ralph can't hear me, but we certainly can hear him very well. You're looking at a live picture from Ralph Rayburn.
Yeah, the level is super low.
That's okay. We'll work on that, Ralph, on our end. This driver is driving extraordinarily fast, dangerously fast there on the Florida Turnpike northbound, going on the shoulder, the right shoulder and the left shoulder, past Sample Road. Sounds like a good half mile ago.
Lynn, I'm going to come back in and just start up again here. We're just passing the Sawgrass Expressway. You'll see it here in just a second. There's the Sawgrass vehicle northbound there. You see the Sawgrass
this goes
Expressway
great for
there.
the driver
again,
until they either run out of gas or run into traffic.
People, in that vehicle that is northbound on the turnpike. The vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed. It is a white Lexus sports vehicle capable of pretty high speeds as it displayed so far, not stopping as they go northbound. I do have an undercover, what I believe is an undercover car coming up here behind it. There you go, right in there. He's coming into the screen right now. So we do have an active police pursuit that's That looks like a county vehicle. That's a Miami-Dade County Police vehicle right there, coming up behind it right there. And there are several others behind it. I don't want to zoom out too far and lose the focus of the chase right here. But there are, I count now, at least 3 county vehicles, green and whites, coming northbound here. Where are we about now, Joe?
You can see the police cars right above those 2 words that say special report. So Ralph is saying 3 county police cars are chasing this particular Lexus that Ralph says was reportedly stolen. We also know that they're also chasing this particular driver and suspect from the air as well. So they're on top of this driver. Ralph told us a few minutes ago this car driver refuses to stop because it was involved in an armed robbery. Go ahead,
Ralph.
Ralph.
With you again. Palmetto Park Road is the cross street here on the turnpike as this police chase now that's probably 15 minutes old continues northbound on the turnpike. The vehicle unimpeded at this time continues at a high rate of speed there using the breakdown lane on the far right side and then swerving back across slower traffic probably doing upwards of 60 or 70 miles an hour, so it gives you an idea of exactly how fast. Glades Road would be the next road northbound as this vehicle being pursued by police continues northbound. There are several Miami-Dade police units behind the vehicle. There's a Miami-Dade helicopter that was overhead here. There's also some troopers now I see coming into the picture here. Let me just zoom out just a little bit, see if you can see them there. There you see the one police cruiser. Looks like they're getting off here, Joe. Getting off right here. What is this? Glades Road. Glades Road and going eastbound on Glades Road. Almost lost control there. He can turn westbound if he wants here, I'm being told. But right now he's continuing underneath us here going, yeah.
Okay, so Palm
right
Beach,
there.
not
He's in the center
so they're
lane.
in Palm Beach County right now. Got off at Glades Road. Was
going westbound. He's going to be going westbound.
And there's a red light.
Through the intersection there against the light and into slower traffic now. Slower traffic trying to work his way around it. There are several units behind that vehicle, but he's come into slower traffic there underneath the overpass there. And coming up on, let's see here. Yeah, he's going to continue westbound.
I think the Lexus does get hurt a little bit.
We're just a little bit north of the Sawgrass Expressway here. Got off the Glades Road, got off the expressway there, and the turnpike and continues now.
LA does it right. They know how to follow
it. He can't hear me, but we are watching a live police chase there. Now we're in Palm Beach County, started in Miami-Dade County, went to Broward County. Let's listen in where he's at now. These are 2 suspects involved in a carjacking.
So
we're going to keep their audio down just a little bit here.
We warned our viewers at home and online there a short time ago. Going to be going southbound now.
I don't know how the cops can keep up with him. This is so dangerous.
Past the shopping center here into a community. They're going to see the police helicopter here come through the picture here just a short period of time.
Yeah, they've lost the police officers completely.
The police helicopter is too, Joe, right there, and he's making a curve. Yep.
So driving quickly, not stopping, but not going as fast as he was on the turnpike.
441. Yeah, I think it's 441. And there's the
We've got some feed issues.
Right there. This is Lyons Road. This is Lyons Road. So we're on
this
Lyons
clears
Road
up.
there.
The next time there's a stoplight is when it gets dangerous because we've got 2 armed guys in a car.
Coming up the Palmetto Park Road
splitting
here.
the lane. Oh, man.
Driving around slower vehicles here, but you can see there now right between those two vehicles. Very, very dangerous situation here as these people try to elude the police department there from the air and from the ground. We're just going to continue to follow here. We're still on looking at Lyons Road there.
If I didn't know better, I'd think they want to get away.
But again, as Ralph has said, they're on Lyons Road right now in Palm Beach County. We're talking just 2 lanes here. There's plenty of red lights that this driver is refusing to stop for. And you know, we always wonder when we see these live police chases, what is going through the minds of the driver, because 95% of the time,
this is less helpful.
They are pulled over by police. They are caught, and honestly, that number is probably even higher.
Being told they go to the wrong side onto the oncoming traffic there, into oncoming traffic. Our information tells us he's doing about 60 miles an hour. You see the car swerving out of the way now back into the correct lane of travel. Continues on Lyons Road, still going. Let's see here. We'll let it correct here, but we're around 60, 70 miles an hour here.
That's really painful. I'm gonna fix the audio so that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, but these are.
What is it? Hillsborough? Hillsborough Boulevard.
Hillsborough. Okay.
We're still on southbound, right?
We've gone through 3 counties: Miami-Dade, Broward, here. Palm Beach, and now Hillsborough. This driver refusing to stop, involved allegedly in an armed robbery.
Around cars here.
Ralph said earlier that this is believed to be a stolen vehicle, stolen using a high-powered
Lynn into
weapon.
the wrong lane of traffic. Lynn, sorry to interrupt you there. This is coming up on Southwest 18th Street through the intersection against the lights here, swerving around oncoming traffic and traffic that had the right of way there. So a very dangerous situation here, and as we've done it now several times here, we're warning our viewers at home that we don't know how this is going to play out. Sometimes these things end bad.
We're back in Broward County, Ralph. I'm just going to interrupt you.
I can tell you how it's going to end up.
We're in Palm Beach County.
It's going to end up with somebody in his underwear. That's how it's going to end up.
We've seen this driver just do
this
some dangerous moves there on the Florida Turnpike, flying down the shoulder of each side. That was a few minutes ago. This is a live picture.
They just rolled back just so we could, because this clip's bad.
Police
The microwave link is bad from the helicopter.
Stolen from somebody with a high-powered weapon, involved in a carjacking. 2 suspects, police say, may be involved in AK-47. This driver, we've been watching this maybe for the last 20 minutes or so. This started in Miami-Dade County. Was on the Florida Turnpike northbound for a good 20 minutes
we're
or so.
Back with you because you see the vehicle there go into oncoming traffic, into the lanes of oncoming traffic, not a lot of traffic, and then zip back and forth right there past the work crew there. Again, this is happening on Lyons Road. We're coming up to the Sawgrass.
This guy's been playing GTA.
It'll be in that area.
Oh,
just
man.
The curb, the edge of the curb right there.
He hit the curb.
For folks just tuning in, this was a police chase that's been going on now for about 15 to 20 minutes, I would say. A vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed coming up from South Dade was allegedly
there's a lawsuit.
There's a lawsuit.
In an armed carjacking. That here we go. We got stopping underneath.
No, he's trying to get around cars
here,
there.
Trying to make a U-turn. Look like he's going to try to get on the Sawgrass. Eastbound on the feeder road that goes onto the Sawgrass Expressway right here. So from Lyons Road. So they've continued, and there
see you, Matthew. Good luck with your meeting.
Vehicles following. There's a Florida Highway Patrol vehicle. You'll see it here at the very bottom of the screen here in just a second. Right there, you can see it just for a split second, and we'll go back in and
$104,000 car. Is that what they're driving? It's a high-end car.
So this driver now has made a big U-turn, as you heard Ralph say. I'll just interrupt while we get his picture back. It's now on the Sawgrass Expressway.
Alex stole it.
Broward County. Let's peek in now.
They stole it.
Listen to Ralph.
An area down in South Dade off of Dixie Highway in the deep 200 of South Dixie at gunpoint, and they're taken from the driver and reported stolen at that time, and the police department down there, Miami-Dade, read out the BOLO of this vehicle.
I was kicked back,
put it
taking
on a
it
sheet
easy.
on a board. All the municipalities get it. Now we're on the Turnpike coming southbound. They just got on the Turnpike from the Sawgrass
Maria.
back coming southbound.
I don't know. Occasionally some get away. I guess that's what they're hoping. They think they'll be the one that gets away.
Both the Florida Highway Patrol and Miami-Dade County.
If I had that car, I would treat it a little better than he is. I agree.
Right now that we understand, we haven't seen them because they're pretty much focused on the vehicle itself.
Yeah, the Tesla's coming up. We haven't got to the Tesla yet.
Southbound on the Turnpike here. So
there will be a Tesla.
Let me see if I can set a couple things up here.
Well, the good news is while you're fixing your
something that shows you the speed, indication of the speed that this vehicle is going here. So
luckily, it seems to be light traffic at this point.
I apologize for doing this on the air, but that happens sometimes when
we've got a Lexus. I don't know exactly the model. It's a high-end Lexus sport vehicle.
Yeah, so it's going pretty fast here. So let me here. I'm going to try this here.
Stolen car, carjacking, armed. Now they got the speed.
Speedometer in the upper right-hand corner of your screen there, and as once it calibrates here, it'll get set. Let me focus
still
back in on
calibrating.
the vehicle, and you can actually see
it's not going 200 miles an hour.
Going right here, it'll calibrate down to. Let's see here. It's a little.
It's a little off.
A second for it to do it, but again, vehicle now in the breakdown lane.
It's not going 175.
Southbound, just past Sample Road. It's going around the corner.
There will be a little bit of fender bender involved.
And it looks like he might be trying to get off at the exit ramp. He decides to avoid the exit ramp and continues southbound. So again,
no court today, unfortunately.
Taken.
Judge has some other docket items to take care of.
Continues southbound on the Turnpike. It went all the way as far north up into just to the edges of Palm Beach County there, and before it turned around, got back on the
what is a possible sentence for this? It varies depending on the number of crimes they commit. A lot of times each one they do is tracked and added up, and he might have a list of like 200 offenses during a police chase.
May be armed. So we're going to continue to provide these pictures to you, Lynn. We'll take a breather here and toss it back to you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ralph.
So,
Ralph's going to stay on these pictures.
Lexus
and,
LC.
we're going to clear up our communication, but if you're just now joining us, you're looking at a live picture of a breaking, developing story now in northern Broward County. A police pursuit for the past 25, 30 minutes or so started in Miami-Dade County, as Ralph told us earlier.
I think the speed's a little bit better there. It's right around 100.
Somebody who apparently had this Lexus sports car says he or she was robbed, basically at gunpoint, when the two suspects, we believe, jumped in the car and took off. The car was reported stolen, and there the police pursuit ensued. Started in Miami-Dade County, went northbound to several different counties. Basically, this driver made a big U-turn, went all the way up to Palm Beach County, got back on the turnpike again, endangering so many people's lives, going, it looks to be, if Ralph's speedometer is correct here, well over 100 miles an hour. A lot of times in the shoulder or the breakdown lanes of the left and right side, just flying past all these cars there on the turnpike. The good news is, if there is any, there does seem to be light traffic, thank goodness. And, you know, a lot of people listen to their music. Cars. Go ahead, Ralph. You needed to say something?
Okay. Yeah, every once in a while I can hear your voice, and I'm glad I can. Thank you. We're just passing Executive Airport. That's going to be Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, and that's in the area of Commercial Boulevard southbound on the turnpike. Here you see this white Lexus sport vehicle coming up to Commercial, as we said, and traveling, as you said, at a high rate of speed here, trying to elude police officers. They are on their radios, they are in the helicopter, they are on the in their cruisers, and they are following and pursuing this vehicle as he takes the exit ramp.
Finally takes an exit.
Curving around in front of us right here.
Ooh, slid there.
Yeah, go either way.
The back end just slid out.
Just have to see here now if he's going to go east or west when he gets to the base of the exit here. But he's coming around.
Wish they dropped the lower third.
Making a sweeping left-hand turn here. He's going to go around slower traffic very dangerously there as he goes over the overpass of the turnpike here, just towards
look at this. Look at this.
And it looks like we're going to have a bailout here. At least one person is getting out of the vehicle. You
with
see somebody with a gun,
firearm,
with a rifle over there, trying to get somebody out of the vehicle. Again, we caution our viewers that that person was not going to let him in. Wow. Very dangerous situation here. Frightening for the driver there of that vehicle as it continues now, that white vehicle. So again, our warning to people at home as we air this video live that we have no control over what's going to be happening down there. We provide the pictures and the commentary, and Lynn, I'll toss it back to you here just for a second here.
Yeah, that was incredible. I don't think we've seen that ever, at least not in my experience here on television. That we saw the suspect
they're not done.
In the passenger side get out of the car. Looks like he had some sort of weapon in his hand, tried to get to the stranger in the car behind him.
The guy's like, nope,
get in the car
not today.
And then jump back into this white Lexus that police say was stolen. Wow, sign of major desperation. And then goodness,
traffic up ahead.
And that gray car kept his or her wits about him or her and did not open the door or roll down the window.
They're going to try it again. They're going to try it again. Both park the vehicle, both getting out now with a gun. With a gun, trying to get somebody to get out of the vehicle here. They're threatening the person to get out of the vehicle to get the keys.
Tesla?
They're forcing the car door open here. They've got the person to get that person out. Tell that.
Don't be the hero. Don't be the. Oh, no.
Live picture. This is a breaking story. You just witnessed a crime.
That vehicle's backing up. It's hit the other vehicle. Now you're going to.
They jumped out of one. It got rammed. Leaves his buddy.
Weapons drawn. Backing up. We're going to stay with the vehicle. We have a bailout. We have one person running. We know that person's going to be taken into custody there. Now the vehicle has been switched to a Tesla. There's a police car that just missed that vehicle. They're going to be backing up here. They're going towards that vehicle.
He doesn't know how to shift out of reverse.
There are rifles involved here. The police department knows there are rifles. They've just hit another
and
car.
Boom.
We're going to provide these pictures here. They just alluded there. We see now a police officer ram it with his truck. He's got his weapon drawn. He's telling the guy to get out of that vehicle, to stand down. We'll see what happens here, but we're going to stay on this picture as we believe the other suspect is now either being taken we believe he's being taken into custody, but we're going to stay in this picture, obviously.
Right.
I'm going to give you a hint. It's not over yet.
Police officer down to the left there. Thanks, Ralph. Demanding that this driver get out of the car. I guess you could call it a pit maneuver. Successfully stopped this driver from the second stolen car. We saw a few minutes ago the passenger
car doors open, Lynn. He's getting out. He's on the ground. He's complying with police orders there to give it up. And now he's going to try to make a run for it. He's not going to get far. He's not going to get far.
Picture of the suspect, the driver, taking off on foot. Ralph's got a nice
he's in
wide
the yard
picture.
there between the two houses there. We'll try to stay with him here. We have the police officers from multi-agencies here. He's now crossed over the roadway there.
There goes the hoodie.
Looks like he's taking off a jacket. He had a black jacket on.
And there's the alligator-infested swamp.
Maybe this canal, it looks like. Getting in the
looks like
water.
he is, yeah. He's jumped into the water there.
Where's an alligator when you need one?
Okay, so.
Oh my.
Okay, so he took off his black jacket. He's swimming. Maybe, I think he might even taken off his shoes. Looks like socks there, I'm not sure. Swimming to the other side of the canal.
Yeah, there's a police helicopter right above telling the agents where all the officers where he is. They can see him right now. The guy's telling them, where are you going to go? What are you going to do there? They're sending officers to the other side of the street here, to the other block.
He was doggy paddling.
Let's see where he's.
The canal's full of gators.
Well, he's in between two houses there, so we're just going to hang right here. He's got to come out one side or the other.
Well, and you hope to God that the people in these homes either are not home and their doors are locked. I mean, just the brazen crimes that we saw happen in the last 20 minutes by these two suspects.
All right, he's now moved.
Yeah, we can pretty much guess his speed at this point, Nicole.
Yeah, as you said before, he shed
there's
his
the goose.
jacket, and he's just in
We have
the
a goose.
I don't know if he's familiar with this area and he's going home or trying to get home. That does happen sometimes in these cases where the suspect or the person that's being pursued by police just tries to get
soggy footprints across the road. There you go.
Adrenaline is probably pretty much drained out of him right now, so he's going to slow down here very shortly. But again, the police helicopter is above and telling the officers where he is, giving them an exact.
The guy's just running perfectly straight.
Is exactly where this guy is. So
that was a wild goose chase, Rock.
The other scene is behind us now. For people who are just tuning in, there was a police chase that covered a couple of counties from involving a.
Looks like he's taking a breather, Ralph.
Yeah.
You're looking at a suspect right there in the white shirt on the right-hand side trying to elude police. To the left of your picture is what just happened in the last few minutes. He was driving that stolen white van, and now he's picking up, again, a little light jog without any shoes, wet clothes, after
tries another vehicle.
trying to get into that car.
Go. Let's go see if they have keys in the house.
He's trying the car now. He may be trying the front door of this house right here. So we'll bring the camera back out here and see if we can get information as to exactly what this address is for you.
So we're in central Broward County, and you just watched.
Right off of Northwest 54th Street is going to be the address here, just to the.
It's pretty much stopped right now,
just to the
Maria.
south of Commercial Boulevard.
Let me just jump in. What you're looking at, viewers, if you're just now joining us, to the left is the end of a very, very dangerous police chase of an alleged stolen vehicle. That happened, the pictures on your left happened just a few minutes ago. The picture to your right is a live picture brought to you by Ralph and Joe of the suspect who's taking off on foot after swimming in that canal and just running through the neighborhood. It'd
be funny if the goose turned on him. Geese can get pretty violent. They're quite intimidating as well.
Trying to open it, and is somewhere around that particular house. So you can see, I mean, police are hot on his tail. They know exactly where he's at.
The police have just shown up at the house. They're here at the house, being guided by the aviation unit from Dade County. They patch all the radios together. This woman right here is telling them, just told the police officers, I saw this guy running through in my backyard.
So it looks like the garage is open there.
Next door, he was looking at the, I guess that's a Honda there, that Honda SUV, trying to jiggle the handle of the door right there. But they do have an officer now stationed in front of the house. It does not appear at this point that the person, the suspect who was weaponized there, who had a rifle at one point, got rid of, or at least left the rifle.
He's a triathlete.
When he started to give up, and we showed you that live, it looked like he was going to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Release the goose.
He was going to give up.
Yeah.
I think he left the weapon in the car. I don't believe he has a weapon here.
And fled wearing that red hoodie, and which he.
I think he lost his shoes while he was swimming.
Canal there to try to elude the police, but it's going to be to no avail here right now.
Let's look at this. Stay with your live picture right here. So we have a police officer there at the bottom of our screen behind this, looks like silver van, and it looks like the garage to that particular door may be open, or maybe it's one of those, garages.
Yeah, so we've got more, we have a canine officer here now.
Firmissel.
We've got other.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
The house. They know the location.
Let's get a chew toy. Here we go.
They'll either use the dog right quickly here or do a reassessment.
Release the hound.
That's being broadcast over the radio is that these subjects are armed, so of course police are going to take all precaution. But right now they pretty much have the house surrounded. They're going to make sure there's no escape path, no escape route for this, and hopefully this will end here in the next couple of minutes.
Well, I mean,
wild turkey, Carmen. That sounds terrifying.
That he is not giving up. So if we want to go over what we just saw in the last 30 minutes or so, high-speed, dangerous
GTA to track and field and now hide and seek. That's the trifecta. You're right, Hope.
Trying to carjack one particular driver to get out. The driver did not get out of the vehicle. Successfully carjacked another driver in that white van at gunpoint and then took off with one of the suspects running and this particular suspect getting in the car, being hit by police and taking off on foot, swimming through the canal, running through neighborhoods, and now somewhere in the vicinity of this particular home refusing also to give up. Look what you're seeing on your left-hand side there. That was the first attempted carjacking that we saw live here.
That was the second. The first one was how they got the Lexus in the first place. So we got 1, 2,
kept going, kept driving,
3 with the Tesla,
another side road,
4, well, not carjacking, but a theft attempts.
That driver got out. What that person must have been feeling, what the fear that must have been going through him. Put his hands up, let his car be taken over, and that's when they crashed the white van, and police got
so the clause I saw that we chose not to follow that case just because we have so many pet lovers in there that it would be pretty traumatic to follow that. But I was so glad to see the dog was all right, was there in court, is back on the beat. That is wonderful.
And the end result is the live picture that you're looking at on the right-hand side. The suspect is somewhere in the vicinity of this particular
his day didn't start out with him envisioning it ending like this.
But several officers on ground and in the air.
He wrecked. It was someone else's Tesla they took. That was a carjacking.
So,
wrecked the guy's Tesla.
And the last we saw him run was around that silver van that's parked in the driveway. Is that correct?
Right. As it turns out, Lynn, from this side of the coming around to this side,
it was armed carjacking.
We can see what appears
was what
the
started
garage door
earlier yesterday morning.
To the house.
Right.
Whether he had the passcode to it, or whether it was open because somebody else was there, or whether he knocked on the door and they opened the garage. We don't know what happened, but you can see the garage door right in front of those two vehicles is open, and we believe, and I think the police down
he's
there
going to come out
that,
here.
He is inside the house right now. You can see we've got officers with canine officers both in front and behind the house right now, all around the house with weapons drawn, ready for any possibility, any outcome here. So, and the police officers are heavily armed.
I bet you could. I bet you can just steer it to drive wherever you want to go. Drive it to the police station remotely.
Right now, there was a vehicle that was taken in an
no Pence Thursday.
down in South Dade.
He's a day early, or a day or two early. This happened yesterday.
Lexus sports type vehicle, capable of high rates of speed, which they displayed during the police chase that occurred after that vehicle was spotted, based on its license tag number on a plate reader down in Dade County. They launched their aviation unit, or that aviation unit was up. That's a helicopter. It spotted the vehicle, followed it, got on the radio, was patched together with both Broward County and all the other agencies that are in that area from down deep in South Dade all the way up here, and they followed that vehicle up the turnpike. It took them on a crazy ride all the way up past the Sawgrass Expressway.
Marcy, thanks for the 2-month membership anniversary message.
Drove around
Appreciate
in
your
the
support.
neighborhoods, driving in the wrong lanes of traffic into oncoming traffic, blowing traffic lights and stop signs, putting civilians at great danger. In the meantime, the police department, using the helicopter, just stayed above with units from the Florida Highway Patrol and from Miami-Dade Police Department following behind. And of course, when it got up into Broward, the Broward Sheriff's Office also got their people involved with this and in the pursuit of this vehicle, but from a safe distance.
It never ends well for them, Gabby.
The helicopter call out where the vehicle was and what they were
The home
doing.
invasion is going to be the biggest enhancer of his charges. Huge mistake there.
Early in that bolo, they said that there were automatic rifles were used in that robbery attempt. The armed
as soon as the cops showed up,
so police, of course, were super cautious.
The friend was not important
and
anymore.
We saw live on the air a passenger of one vehicle at an intersection get out and display that weapon, trying to get the driver of a vehicle on the exit ramp of the turnpike to Commercial Boulevard there to come eastbound, to try to get him to get out of the vehicle. That person did not comply. The passenger got back in the car. It fled again for a better part of maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then stopped again at an intersection behind a vehicle in front of a vehicle.
Nisha, this is real time. This happened yesterday at lunch, so it was yesterday's chase. We're just watching it in real time as it happened.
Got out of the vehicle, let the suspect have the vehicle. He got inside, and at that point, a number of police officers responding. The car was hit several times. It also bumped.
Well, keep an eye on that right-hand side of the screen. I think
an officer
eventually we're going to have.
Just pulled in and walloped that vehicle.
They're using that
Tesla
police car as a shield.
With his pickup truck, and then came out of his
pulling
the
back.
driver's side door with his weapon drawn, telling that driver to give it up. It appeared then the door opened on the suspect's vehicle, the second vehicle of the suspect, and he complied by laying down on the ground, and then I don't know, he just jumped up, and we watched him as he ran across.
I've got to
the
think someone
roadway
is in the
there,
house
trying to get away.
because the garage door's open and two
police
cars are in the
officers
driveway.
He jumped into a canal.
Looks
He
like
shed
somebody
some
is home.
clothing that he was wearing. We then saw him a short time later, gassed and exhausted from all this exertion trying to get away. He came to this house that we're focused on right now, where you see the police vehicles parked in front of it and around it. It'll bring the camera back out here. I see we're double boxing here. And they now believe that the suspect is on the property here, possibly inside the house, and it's completely surrounded. Officers very heavily armed here, waiting for the next direction of exactly how they're going to pursue this. So we're going to hang on this picture and toss it back to you, Lynn.
Ralph, that was a very complete summary. We have a little update from police. There is some good news. The second suspect, this person's alleged accomplice.
Don, we're catching the tail end of yesterday's police chase out of Broward County. We had a couple suspects carjack a vehicle with weapons.
Would you anticipate, Ralph, SWAT to show up and this to become more of a
high-speed chase, attempted carjackings, another carjacking, attempted car theft, now a home invasion, swimming into the canal, and losing clothes. So we've got the suspect they're following here, who was the driver, was in this home, wearing soggy clothes.
They're trying to identify the home, and the homeowner make contact with people inside and make a determination if there is anybody home. If there's no one home, then they're going to try to find somebody who.
Jenny, I was looking at the rifle. It didn't appear to be an AR style. It looks more like a Tech 9 or something.
Egress.
I didn't get a good look at it. It just didn't look to have the body style.
If there's attic space, crawl space, all the different things that the police do in this type of situation when they have a wanted suspect who was armed and may still be possibly be armed, who's on the loose.
Very dangerous situation right now in this standoff for police and for neighbors.
And we had the goose chase. Yes, the goose was in there.
See that there are two parked
Is this Sheriff Grady Judd's area? Is he going to be over this?
Moments ago, that
we'll have to get a press conference from him.
The handle of that, it looks like it's a silver van or SUV, and it was locked. And this either garage didn't have a door. The front door's opening.
Here we go.
Front door.
Yep. Let's watch.
Front door, he's coming. Somebody's coming out. This is him. That's the guy in the red shorts right there. Here, let me.
Shorts. Those are boxers.
He's got his hands up. Took his shirt off.
Still in the soggy socks.
With police, seemingly.
Dirty socks, walking all the way through the house.
Out in his
Clearly unarmed, no weapon.
Say it ended peacefully, I guess. I don't know.
This part I don't agree with. He's clearly in custody.
Here we go.
And watch when he gets to the back of this police car.
Excellent job, Joe. All right, they've
Carrying
got their man.
He's no threat. Wham. I don't believe they should have slammed him against the car like that. I realize he did stupid things.
With what's going on. They have him. They're going to get his hands cuffed here, place him in custody.
Wow, this was an amazing end to a very, very stressful and dangerous 40 minutes. Police
Look at all those soggy
have
footprints.
in their custody
Squish, 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 squish,
the
squish,
second
squish,
suspect
squish,
involved
squish,
in the alleged carjacking
and down
of
you
several
go.
cars. One being the white Lexus that police were chasing for 30 minutes, mainly on the turnpike. His accomplice, his alleged accomplice, is in custody, and now he's in custody. Shocking that he came out of the house, hands up, without seemingly any weapons.
I'm pretty sure they said, come out or we send the dog in.
All of his alleged actions
and that pretty much brought it to an end.
That he was not going to stop at anything. Stopping poor innocent drivers in the middle of the street, he and his alleged accomplice with guns drawn to them, demanding they get out of their car. We saw one driver not get out of the car, the second driver, a man, this poor guy, get out. His car was taken over and used as a getaway for a few yards to get away from police.
Is that officer also in socks? What's funny?
Let me fix my zoom here 1 second here. We want to give you the area that this is in here. We're going to bring the camera back out.
Don Rushing, welcome to the gallery. Good to have you here.
We are
looking at your profile picture. Go Tigers, is that it?
We're south of.
All right, so this is pretty much how it ended. That was the chase that happened yesterday during lunch, during the break in trial, as Letitia Stout was getting her bologna sandwich in the holding cell. This is what was happening in Florida. He had a peanut butter sandwich first. He just ran in, got a quick drink, threw his clothes in the dryer.
On city streets where
that's about it.
Where there are pedestrians and where there are
civilian
traffic, people just going about their daily lives there, unaware, unassuming of anything that's going on there. And the police department here responding on multiple agencies.
JT is here.
Two suspects.
Man, JT, I was not able to catch much of the show at all. I had a meeting that I had to duck out for. But the part that I was there for, I was rolling. It was so funny last night.
Yes, for police and for those innocent drivers that you mentioned.
All right, we're going to go ahead and turn that off here. So that was the first part of what we were going to cover today. I had an idea that we were going to cover the sentencing of. He looked like he had bikini tan lines. Yes, he did. Interesting style. I guess don't judge. I guess so. Mary Murphy was looking somewhere else. Thanks for that. Grady for president. We ended up getting lost in Detective Daddy last night, but after the financial reports, we needed something. Oh, wow. I'm sorry I missed that. You guys, tonight, JT and Brandy have another episode. I'm not linking directly to it because it's going to be like 6 hours difference between when my show ends and when theirs start. But I do strongly recommend you go over and follow the channel. And it already has the placeholder up, so you can click the notify button. When it does go live tonight, you'll be notified. You'll get a little reminder on your phone or whatever that'll pop up and say, hey, it's starting soon. Do definitely want to go over there. It'll be a blast. It's a Friday night. It's a Thursday night. It's almost like a Friday night. It's a Thursday night. The weekend's almost here. The trial just gets crazier and crazier every day, and the people you watch over there. I will tell you, it's a little bit more rowdy than we get here, but it is so much fun, and they're just some good people. So highly recommend it. Right there. There's the link. Thank you very much for that one. Let's see. Oh, we've got JT on the phone. Hang on one second, JT. I'm going to plug you in so we can hear you. That would be even better. Okay. JT, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Top of the morning. Did you just wake up?
No. I actually would have been tuned in, but I had a meeting. You know, I was at work at 8 o'clock.
Work to do? That's not fun.
No, but I called in to tell everybody thank you for tuning in, because there's a lot of folks that cross over. Yeah. But then also I feel like I need to explain the Detective Daddy thing.
Yeah, please. Know? I did not see that. But we're talking about, for those that don't know, this is the Lori Vallow trial that you're following, the audio that's released at the end of the day. You play that together and you watch it sort of live, I think at a little faster clip than normal, so you can get through the whole day without being up all night. And,
right.
And so that's the preface. Tell us about this Detective Daddy.
So we had two they were fairly dry witnesses in terms of financials. Chuck Consadis, who was a detective, and then also Michael Douglas, who's a forensic accountant. And you can only imagine how that was. It was tough to hear. But we eventually got to an Ariel Werther, who's with Chandler PD. He's in robbery and homicide. Oh. And he has a voice. Yeah.
He has a voice. It's way down here. His normal voice.
That's exactly
resonates.
it. We had somebody in our chat who was like, I think I need to go lift weights now.
I think there was a certain demographic that found it quite attractive. His voice, if I can say that without going into any details.
Right.
And there was some fun commentary back and forth. He did a fantastic job. First of all. Nobody remembers a word he said, even though they were paying very close attention.
Very true.
That
mean, obviously, it's a great example of it is a different show. It is later in the evening, everyone. But feel free to drop by. We do have fun at the
And
great
honestly,
community.
I mean, I don't blame anyone who came over from my show and then went completely wild with the comments on yours, because we've been listening to Letitia screech on the phone for 5 hours, and just everyone needed to let their hair down a little bit or put it up. And in Brandy's case, she wore her hair up similar to Letitia. It looked fantastic, probably better than Letitia, I would actually say. But
we all needed that provided us with a bit of a chuckle that I think we all needed, but also his voice was a very nice salve on the torn up eardrums that we've had.
Oh man,
I think
night and day difference. Night and day. It was so good. That's awesome.
But anyways,
you're on for tonight again.
That's my story,
right? Do you know?
Yeah,
Do you know yet what's going to happen today? Are you following the tweets as far as court? What witnesses you're going to hear?
I am following because I just got out of a meeting. I got to catch back up to see what's going on. But I will say that we are going to start again at 8:45. But Brandy is actually going to, I believe she is going to do a quick. Everybody was asking kind of about the history or the moments leading up to this trial and everything that happened.
Yeah.
And so Brandy's putting something together at 7 p.m. tonight, and I'll be putting that up on YouTube soon in terms of scheduled. And she's going to do kind of a history lesson for all of this.
Is she going to? Is she going to set it to like the latest album from Chad's ukulele performance, or what's the music?
We were trying to get away from the scathing sound.
Seriously, I don't even know if he plays an instrument at all. But the picture of him on the beach with Lori, doing like the hula type. Oh my goodness, I threw up a little bit in my mouth when I saw that.
I'm guessing he stole that from somebody just before he took the picture.
Pinterest. He was flipping through Pinterest or Instagram. He's like, "Oh, let's do this one." That's awesome.
So she'll be on at 7 for the history, and then we will pop in together at 8:45 for the normal audio recap per usual. So we look forward to hopefully seeing a bunch of people over there.
Yeah, a couple people. Amos is here. If you saw the message on the screen, she says, "I'm going to listen to Ariel again today." So she's going to go back and watch the Detective Daddy one more time. But that was fun.
Brandy did say she was going to go back so she could write some notes down. That's totally the reason.
She's very thorough. And take one for the team, really, is what she's doing. So that's awesome.
Right.
All right. Well, wonderful.
Well, thank you, sir.
We will see you tonight. And thank you so much for popping in.
That sounds great.
All right. We'll see you.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Love those guys. Those two just do a fantastic job. It's awesome. Let's see. Mr. Upper Torso says, a little off topic. Did he see Emily D. Baker's interview with James Clark Kent from the Gwen Paltrow trial? I just saw it's pulled up on my screen, literally right here. It's on the bottom where my thumb is. I can't work backwards, but it's on my screen. That's what I was going to watch next. I got tangled up in cords there. I have not watched it yet, but Emily D. Baker did score an exclusive interview with Clark Kent from the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. I cannot wait to see it. I love Emily's style. First of all, she's just naturally funny. She's just quick on her feet and everything else. And I can't wait to see how she interacts with James. It's going to be fantastic. I'm so happy for her that she got that awesome interview. Let's see. What Polly Prissy Pants, what are you talking about as far as the where? Are you talking about JT's live stream? That's going to be on Brandy's channel, Brandy Churchwell's channel. So if you type !Brandy in chat, it will pull up a link and that'll take you over there. Mr. Oporto says, what? Clark Kent? Yes. Talk about a get. I mean, of all the people you could get, he was the one everyone wanted to talk to. Even after the trial was over, all the press wanted to talk to him, and he wasn't super available for that. But now he can talk. Did a great interview. She really enjoyed enjoyed herself. Okay, let's see. I think that's a garbage truck going by my house. I'm sure she's covered this before, but why no LS trial on Thursday? Amanda Ray, great question. This judge, and actually all the judges in this building, rotate the duties for docket. So they might have like one big court case that they're handling, and they'll calendar it out and say, between this date and this date, I'm going to be handling the Letitia Stout murder trial. But they rotate the duty within that. So they say every Thursday for this judge, every Thursday I'm going to like do my duty. And I'll take my turn handling just the daily stuff that comes up. And so every Thursday he works on that. And then every, all the other days, Monday through Wednesday.
Sarah Boone Letter Fund, SBLF.
Sarah Boone Letter Fund. Thank you, TW, for that. You're amazing. I did check last night again for that letter to see if we got anything from Florida. We still have not got that. We're trying. I see DeSantis is going around speaking in various places around the country, and I wish somebody could go up to him and say, "Hey, when am I going to get my public records request?" Anyway, about that. So every Thursday, this judge has off. The other judges have other days that they work. So another judge in the courtroom in that courthouse might have every Wednesday that they do just docket things, just a lot of little cases that come up that have to be taken care of. So that's why. So every Thursday that happens. This particular day, the judge has I think it's a murder trial hearing for the Haas murders. Haas is what I heard. Which I haven't followed that case at all, but there's a motion to continue it or evidentiary. I forget what it is. It's a preliminary hearing regarding the Haas murders. So that's what's taking up time today, and that's why we're not going to have Letitia. But pretty much every Thursday, for as long as this trial takes, which they said could be 6 to 8 weeks, we will have the day off on Thursday. So it's like a little mini weekend in the middle of the week. And honestly, after the phone calls, we sort of need a day off. So that's where we are. We do have one other court-related thing that I did want to follow today, and that's one I wanted to go back because about 5 or 6 days ago, last week, we had the Senate scene for Mark Jensen. Mark Jensen was a trial that we followed.
Can I put in my reservation to be the first Airbnb guest? LOLJK.
Brianne, yes and no. It's going to be rented through a website that caters specifically to traveling nurses. That's who we're working with and everything. But it's not just an open Airbnb out in the garage. But it's going to be fantastic. I will say there is no Airbnb that will have faster internet than mine. I'm not sure if I can charge extra for that, but I will have probably 2 gigabit internet speed for a rental and symmetrical up and down. And where else can you get that? 0 ping. It's going to be fantastic. Hopefully that will put my an extra star on my reviews. But let's see. Do you mean Zachary Anderson's brother? Suzanne, you're talking about Zachary Anderson's brother. I think his name is Saul. I cannot remember his name now. But the DUI guy yesterday did an interview with Zachary Anderson's brother. Zach was the jealous boyfriend murder trial with Schroeder that we followed. He was convicted after a drop of the victim's blood was found in the back of his van. There's a big push. By big, I mean they've got 700 or so members over on their YouTube channel or their Facebook channel that are adamantly trying to push for his conviction to be overturned for various different reasons, for improper actions taken by we got Mr. Upper Torso calling in. Hang on just
Mr. Upper Torso.
Mr. Upper Torso, welcome. Let me finish what I'm saying about Zachary Anderson. Can you hold on for just 1 second?
Of course, go ahead.
Awesome. Okay. So this group is saying basically that the judge did things improper, that evidence was admitted that shouldn't have been, that the evidence didn't support the conviction. They've got all these different things that they're pushing, and I'm not. They're welcome to do that. Appeals are part of your rights, okay, and so they're welcome to appeal. But on the DUI guy's channel, he talked for several minutes, 10 or 15 minutes altogether, about us live streaming and the judge watching our live stream. And he never mentioned the channel by name, but he really just spelled out what happened. And he talked about that fourth wall that the judge crossed by suddenly becoming a member of the gallery and listening to the thoughts of members of the gallery, which we by extension are, as we're watching from our homes and our beds, as the DUI guy said. But it was just interesting. If you watch that, I really liked his take on it, and he just said, everyone asks, is that legal? Can he do that? And it hasn't come up before. Unfortunately, it might be the reason a law is made. But I would feel awful if what happened with that judge and with us was the reason for an appeal to be granted, because of what that puts all the victims through. But at the same time, it wasn't our fault that the judge was watching. So anyway, if you want to watch that, I'd recommend taking a quick look at that. He also had a great guest with Zachary Anderson's brother, who's a smart guy. Really put some good arguments in. I almost forgot Mr. Upper Torso. I was leaving you hanging there. How are you doing this morning?
I was listening. I'm doing great. The Zach Anderson trial, I can see a bit of the backlash on it. But if I'm being honest, I think any live stream who's kind of maybe harping that, it was improper, I think that might just be jealousy. I think it might be one of the only times.
Are they judge approved?
Yes.
Really? I mean, are they judge approved? That's the question.
Yeah, and I think, the judge has such freedom to do pretty much whatever he wants so long as it doesn't affect the trial. I don't think it was in presence of the jury. And you're right, it was his discretion, it was his choice. It's not your fault whatsoever, but I can see how you feel that way.
Yeah.
What
do you think
sorry,
today?
I called in. I just want to call in on a Thursday, so it's not going to be too distracting when the trial's going. But it's not going to be too crucial yet. But I think we're getting pretty close to when the experts are going to testify.
Yes.
And I've been seeing a lot of comments about people wondering if Letitia's trying to play crazy. And whether she is or isn't, I just hope people are not in any way worried that that's going to jeopardize how the jury's going to, deliberate. Because I think they're going to be waiting to see. Oops.
Hang on one second.
Okay.
That's to me. You can keep talking.
Okay. I think they're not gonna make that call on their own because they know there are experts coming. They're gonna wait to see what a professional doctor thinks. So what I did is to maybe calm anyone who's not sure, I put together a little video explaining what the Minnesota multiphasic personality test, the MMPI, it was mentioned in the Depp Heard trial as part of the forensic evaluation of Amber Heard. It's going to, I'm pretty sure it's common, it's going to be used to assess Letitia's mental state, as well as how much she is faking her insanity defense.
This
and it
test
is
is
a very,
fantastic
very
for this.
So good. It is a very, very hard test to beat. So what Dr. Curry, I'm sorry, let me just back up, lay some foundation, objection
All the way back to
foundation.
Dr. Curry. Love this. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Lex Friedman, who is a podcaster and interviews a lot of great people, had her on the show. And it starts off where they're talking with this great information about relationships and all of that. But about in the middle, they start talking about the Depp Heard trial and specifically the MMPI too. And she goes into detail about why this test is so good at what it does and it's so hard to beat. So if anyone's worried and anyone just wants to feel like Letitia has maybe a chance at fooling people, she doesn't have a chance of fooling this test. I don't think she is in any way sophisticated enough, and the test is going to see right through her. And I think it's going to be probably, if I were to guess, the most uncomfortable part of the trial for her because she can't lie to herself or anyone else about who she is. I think it's going to be more uncomfortable than even crime scene photos. I don't think they bother her at all, if I'm honest. But being told or having the world told who she really is, that is going to hurt.
So is this test and the direct questions and answers is going to be admitted as evidence? I mean, will the jury be able to peruse? It's 500 questions or so. It's a fairly lengthy test, right?
Yeah. The question, and here's the cool thing, is the questions themselves are really hard to decipher. They're very innocuous questions. Something like a question might be, I like red cars. Something very simple like that. And instead of, what they did is they had control groups. They would find people who maybe were suffering from a particular type of mental illness, who were maybe trying to fake bad. And they would see how they would answer all of these questions, and they would look for patterns. So even if the jury had the questions, Yes, it's a huge data approach. So the test is very hard to get ahead of because you don't know what any one question is really asking. And the raw data itself is really hard to decipher. I don't think the jury's going to get the report. I think the only thing they're going to be allowed to use is the expert's testimony, but they're going to be the one who has the experience to explain how this data translates. Because, it gets into code types, it gets into the peaks on the validity scale, and also the clinical signs. And, I don't even think you could order this test to be done unless you have a PhD to decipher it. They're really, really careful about that. Yeah. So I don't think the jury's going to get the raw data, but they will get the testimony, which is going to bring the raw data to them.
Yeah, and it's going to be glaringly obvious, I think. I think it's not going to be like, well, it came down, she came right on the line. No, it's going to be like, she is right here. This is, I can 100% say that this is the case for her. That's going to be fantastic to listen to. Yeah. I have an unrelated question, Mr. Upper Torso.
Yeah.
You present very well. You are able to articulate complex thoughts in an amazing way. Do you sing?
I don't know how.
Do you sing at all?
A little bit. Yeah.
Wonderful, because we have two people. We have two people who have birthdays today, and I'd like to invite you to join me in singing to Helen Rowe and Terry K. What do you think about that?
I will definitely sing for them.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We'll get a little practice music warmed up here, and we're going to sing to Helen Rowe and Terry K. Is that all right? I've thrown you under the bus.
Terry K. Okay.
You'll never call in again after this.
No, it's cool. No.
Okay. Here we go.
My payment.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Helen Rowe and Terry K. Happy birthday to you. Okay, so it was awesome. You did fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
The applause is showering down. So,
happy birthday to the final Aries. We're almost in the Taurus sun sign. I'm an astrology nerd too. So enjoy your last little bit of Aries, guys. You're champions.
That is awesome. Thank you for being such a good sport. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the. For those who don't know, Mr. Upper Torso has sent me a ton of information online, offline, I guess, in text about this. And when we get there, I'm going to lean heavily on you as we get to information that I'm not familiar with, and you are. I'd love to have you call in again, and I promise not to make you sing that time. But
no problem at all. I just have to time it to once a week because I forgot I got the little phone bill. It's like, hey, by the way, you've used some long distance minutes. I'm
no. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to drag you out.
One more thing.
Yes.
Before I go, just so I take a bit of the stress off your shoulder, if anyone wants to go to my actual YouTube page, that MMP video is the first and only thing I've uploaded. It's under 10 minutes. If anyone wants to check it out at any time, but really it's not going to be relevant until the experts come up because that's when we're going to be talking about all this. But I think we're getting close. I think it's coming.
Awesome. Make sure you send me that link again. I think you did already.
Yeah, I think it's the most recent text. I sent like the Google drop, and that was on YouTube.
I'll share that as soon as that comes up. Remind me, and I'm going to share your link to that because it'll be relevant at the time, and it'll be easier to get people to check that out.
No,
thank you so much, Mr. Upper Torso. Wonderful as always. You're welcome to call anytime. Thanks for being a good sport.
You're very welcome. I'll call soon, and I'll return to the chat. See what's up.
All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
That's awesome. I love that. Happy birthday to both of you. Appreciate you. It's a Thursday. We relax just a little bit on a Thursday. We need the channel name. Mr. Upper Torso, can you pop it in chat? Actually, I think I can pop it in now because I think there are people who want to watch right now. After hearing your amazing singing, they're like, oh, I've got to go check out this YouTube channel. Just 1 second. I'll get it here. There it is, right there on top. Link copied. I'm going to post this here in chat. This is going to be the link to Mr. Upper Torso webpage. Oh, I was on the right spot already. Torso webpage. Sorry, that's me on a loop. We'll turn that down for a second. Okay, there we go. Link is up. And the phone is back in service. Okay, so here's the link to Mr. Upper Torso's webpage. The only video on the channel, she said, is the one that talks about the MMPI, which gives just some incredible background information. I know a few of you are extremely knowledgeable about this. A few of you may have taken this test and have some experience that way. So I do hope you enjoy that. And thank you for Mr. Upper Torso for that information. Let's see. Happy birthday, you two. Yes, for sure. Let's see. We have one more thing we were going to follow today. We have the sentencing for Mark Jensen. Sorry, I had to look at the screen. So we're going to try to follow that. Thank you for subscribing over there to the channel for her. That is awesome. Let's see. I know a few guys in the joint who are trying to fake a psych diagnosis. They gave them the MMPI. They both quit halfway through and gave up. They're like, I can't do it anymore. It's too stressful to try to be insane. T-Rox, the discussion about Detective Daddy being eye candy and because his name is Detective Werther, you can't buy this kind of humor. Last night was a little off the rails, but it was so much fun. And it was a great contrast to what we had to listen to all day. MMPI is often given in conjunction with lots of other tests that psychologists gives to determine a number of things. So this is just one of the tools in their arsenal But I'm fascinated by the test, especially with it being so difficult to read, as far as what are they asking and why are they asking it? How should I shape my answer to get the desired result? It sounds like it protects against that very well. Yes, Mark Jensen was sentenced to life in prison with no parole. Jenna, we're gonna hear that. I think let's go ahead and pull this up right here. Let me play this one. See if that's working. Let's switch to 2. There we go. So this is going back 5 days to hear. Let's see, is this the right trial? I think that's the wrong one. This is the one that happened right before. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. Give us just a minute. We'll find where we are. Not that one, not that one. There we go. Okay, here we go. Right here. Oops. This is the Mark Jensen one. So we're going to listen to this and hear how this unfolds. I heard the judge was quite eloquent. I don't know if this is spicy at all. So just heads up. We might actually speed it up. We'll see. We'll see how things go. But this was the other thing I wanted to do today. Just subscribe to Mr. Torso. Thank you for more useful knowledge. There's Mr. Jensen right there. Appreciate your comments. Dr. Curry was excellent. Maybe we can all take the test. Phones off in court, please. Okay, so we're going to speed it up. Hold tight just for a second. Let me speed this up just a little bit. Speed. Let's do 1.25.
On a record on Mark D. Jensen, it's 2022.
I'm not a camel.
That's the camel judge.
CF314. Let's have the appearances, please.
The state appears by Carly McNeil and Public Service Special Prosecutor Beverly Jamboys. Attorneys Bridger Krause, Jeremy Perry, and Mackenzie Renner appear on behalf of
I'm hearing
Mr.
the
Mark
audio
Jensen,
only in
both
the
peers
left
person.
channel
Good
for
morning,
those
Judge.
that are having trouble hearing.
We're in compliance with victim notification from the state?
Yes.
All right. And then we'll do some housekeeping matters. I do have the pre-sentence report. Has the pre-sentence report been reviewed with the defendant?
It has.
Any corrections for the record?
Yes, Judge. On page 8.
All right, let me get there. I'm there.
Under the...
This is the sentencing for Mark Jensen. He's the gentleman just off the right hand of the
He's been held in
screen.
custody since July 30th of 2007. He was actually formally, it says he was formally arrested on July 30th, 2007. He was actually formally arrested on March 20th, 2002, and then bail was increased on July 30th, 2007.
All right, those are corrected for the record then. Any other corrections?
No other corrections specifically as to the PSI.
All right, and then I will note for the record, we have an individual on the phone who's also going to hear the hearing. Douglas Jensen, this is a judge. Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, he said yes. The other thing I want to do before we proceed is indicate
For
on
more
the record all
emojis
the
and being
documents
wonderful
that have been
turkey,
filed,
chicken
and I'll
face,
ask the state if they
swandies.
had a chance to review them. First of all, there's a written statement by Mark Jensen with some pictures attached.
Oh, no, please.
There is a letter from David M. Jensen. There's a letter from Lori Kostner. There's a letter from Dan and Forrest Jensen. And finally, there's a letter from Douglas Jensen.
There's a letter from
Has
his
the
wife that wasn't
prosecution
allowed
had a
in.
chance to review all those documents?
She's dead.
Yes, I believe there's a letter from David with the defense grouping of letters, and then the state had submitted the letter from Douglas.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going to proceed to sentencing. The state didn't make their remarks. There's going to be any victim statements?
Yes, there are. 3 of Julie's brothers are present, and they wish to address the court.
Let's start out with that so they can have come up and make their statements.
Come up to the microphone.
This is 1.25 speed, so they do sound a little sped up.
Yep, you can have a seat. And then you just speak into the microphone and say your name.
Or can you get the microphone near him? And try to get it as close as you can, sir. All right, your first and last name for the reporter?
Lawrence Griffin.
All right, and What is your relationship to this case?
I am Julie Jensen's brother.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, Julie Jensen, née Griffin, was the only daughter among 5 children. I am Larry, the oldest brother. Julie was 7 years younger than me and was followed by brothers Michael, Paul, and Patrick. I, along with my brothers, grieve our sister's loss. Mark Jensen's harassment of Julie for years, leading to his calculated murder of her on December 3rd, '98, put a shocking end to the kind and gentle person that Julie embodied. Julie's marriage to Mark in '84, the birth of David in '90, and of Douglas in '95 were ultimate joys to which Julie devoted her life. She cheerfully pursued the activities of raising family, demonstrating to everyone she met the love she felt for her role in life. The impact that Julie's loss has had upon her friends, her neighbors, and community has been that of a permanent void. The negative impact upon the Griffin family is that Julie no longer lives to celebrate family events and lifetime occasions. We've had no contact with Julie's sons, David and Douglas, as they were raised under the influence of the Jensen family. I feel that Mark Jensen's cruel and inhuman actions toward the life of Julie are unforgivable. I recommend he spend his life in prison without parole. Thank you.
Very concise.
All right, again, would you please state your name, sir?
Michael Griffin.
And what is your relationship to Julie Jensen?
I'm Julie's younger brother, 2 years her junior.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Dear Judge and members of the court, as one of Julie's 4 brothers, I'm 2 years her junior, I strongly appeal to you to sentence Mark Jensen to life without parole. The jury is out, no longer applies, but how does one measure the loss of a life? The consequences of Mark Jensen's murder of our sister Julie are not only obvious, such as the fact her young sons David and Douglas lost their mother, and her kind and loving care. Jensen's actions also reverberate through the lives of countless others. Julie suffered an unthinkably cruel death at the hand of Mark Jensen. Their sons, David and Douglas, our nephews, suffer the murder, deception, and intentional loss of their mother's loving goodness. The boy's father immediately worked to erase traces of their loving mother, creating an indescribably tragic void. Jensen's psychological cruelty to Julie was psychopathic, and in keeping his despicable method of murder, which he incredulously continues to deny. Mark Jensen killed Julie many times over, beginning years before he actually crystallized her organs and finally suffocated her in a pillow. We have grieved and missed our genuine and caring sister since her death at age 40 in 1998. Each of us and our families, an entire community of believers in Julie, have endured the displaced energy required by not only 1 but 2 long trials over the decades, both finding the same result of guilty. Mark Jensen knowingly chose to destroy our only sister, affecting all of us around her. He selfishly stole the goodness that was naturally Julie, and in doing so, robbed her own children whom she loved and adored, and our family, and the entire world. Happiness is generally elusive in the wake of Julie's death. Our only satisfaction today is that Julie's good spirit is alive and well, and the truth is out, with and without the letter. In my last telephone conversation with Julie in the fall before her murder, I want everyone to know that even after years of Julie being psychologically tormented, and while suspecting that her own husband was suggestively planning her murder, and even as she was likely applying her considerable instinctive intelligence to the task of safely extracting herself and her beautiful children from threat, even then, Julie did not speak ill of Mark. And such was the nature of Julie's goodness, seeing the good in everyone. And this is what all of us, family and community members alike, have been robbed of. I again appeal for Mark Jensen to receive a maximum sentence of life without parole.
Thank you.
the audio is coming in 20 decibels lower on the right side. It's called a safety channel. It's something that the camera can do in case someone talks too loud in the microphone. They'll
All
sound
right,
a good
again,
audio
sir,
in
your
one channel.
first and last name
But it's
name is
hard
Paul
to listen
Griffin.
to right here.
and your relationship to Julie Jensen.
I'm Julie Jensen's brother.
All right, try to talk a little louder, sir, okay?
I'm Julie Jensen's brother.
Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, I respectfully ask the court today to show no mercy for Mark Jensen. Why, you might ask? Because he showed no mercy to his wife, my sister, Julie Jensen. He treated her poorly by taking advantage of her kind, giving nature. He disrespected her as she took care of their house and children, while he did only what he pleased him, while making her serve him. He showed no mercy while he routinely tortured and abused Julie mentally by recording her telephone calls and placing pornographic photos around the house year after year. He controlled her by keeping track of the miles on her car and expecting her to be home at all times when he called. When she tried to leave him, he threatened that she would never see her child again. He showed no mercy when he tried to poison her, not once, but twice in 1998, as the court saw. He showed no mercy to her children as he ignored their helpless pleas to bring their sick mother to the hospital. On December 3rd, he looked his boys in the eyes, knowing he was not going to allow them to see their mother again. Mark Jensen showed no mercy as Julie lay lying in bed, suffering through the stages of ethylene glycol poisoning, her respiratory system and major organs failing. When she was not dying fast enough, he showed no mercy as he sat on her back and shoved her face into a pillow. Mark Jensen hid behind a mask of fatherhood and providing for a family he cold-heartedly lied to and tore apart with his selfishness and disrespect for life. He murdered the person who made his adult life a success and gave him two wonderful boys. He had a chance to make things right, yet he chose evil, which he plotted and schemed for years and years until finally ending his sick game by killing our sister. Yet killing Julie was not enough for Mark Jensen physically. He further chose to spit on her grave by claiming she killed herself. He tried to erase her existence from the lives of her sons. He has continued for many years to make her children believe that she left them stranded. He showed no mercy in his claims that Julie's mother and family are depressed, suicidal people. Mark Jensen is a coward. He claimed Julie's letter was not admissible because she was not here to be confronted. Yet he continued to make false claims against her and our deceased mother. Mark Jensen does not deserve any opportunities for a second chance. I ask today for the court to give him the maximum sentence, no mercy. We've lived with this. I wrote this letter 15 years ago. Nothing has changed in that time. Julie died 25 years ago. We ask for peace.
Thank you.
I'll
Is that the
explain
end
what
of the
happened,
victim statements?
It is.
Right.
Why we're back here.
Anytime you're ready, Ms. McNeil, go ahead.
So unfortunately, Bob Jamboys is still a prosecutor in Portage County. So the only thing that could keep him away is the fact that he's in trial somewhere else. So I will be addressing the court this morning for sentencing. There's no need to rehash the trial. The court saw the evidence, 3 weeks of it. So I'm just going to focus on some pertinent parts here. Another thing that's important is I could never say anything about Julie better than her brothers just did. And so I want to focus on what the defendant did and the reality of what he did. We heard at trial about the brief affair that Julie Jensen had with Perry Tarika. And I think the normal reaction of someone when their partner has an affair is to be hurt, maybe to end the relationship, to be angry. That's a quite normal reaction. But it wasn't Mark Jensen who filed for divorce. It was Julie. He wanted the marriage to continue. And for 7 years after that point, he tormented Julie Jensen. Julie Jensen was told to keep a log of this harassment, and we saw at trial that it went on for pages and pages. The defendant would go to Julie and tell her that he'd found pornographic pictures on his vehicle at work. He would tell her about the receptionist at his job being cursed out. He would leave videotapes. One of the entries indicates that David found a videotape on the ledge of the garage. And then he claimed to receive a call at work asking how he liked the video. There's also another entry that these photos were left on a truck at Ruther during David's Christmas program. This was all to punish Julie for this affair, to torment her. And think about the reality of that, the time and the commitment to perpetrate this scheme for 7 years. 7 years of deceitful humiliation and cruelty. This is someone who had a life, he had a family, he had a home, he had hobbies like fishing, and yet he devoted his time to this torment. And it's something that he actually did, something similar, less so, but similar to his coworkers too. Using a fake email to harass one of his coworkers who was on a dating site. And clearly he did all these things with the idea that he was never going to get caught. Now, to most people, the idea of doing something like this is inconceivable, but the defendant not only thought it, he did it for 7 years. And it ends with Kelly. That's another reason why we know that the defendant was the perpetrator of this, because when Kelly came into his life, he had something else to do. And when he found a new woman, a woman who was going to commit to him and eventually marry him, when he found Julie Jensen's replacement, he decided not to do the thing that most people would do when they know their marriage is over. He decided to kill Julie Jensen. And we can see that as he's planning to sweep Kelly off her feet with a cruise, he's then going on the internet and looking for ways to murder his wife, starting with botulism and pipe bombs, those late, middle-of-the-night searches, his wife undoubtedly in the bedroom asleep during those hours. Think about the reality of that. To most people, doing that while your wife is in a room nearby is unimaginable, but not for Mark Jensen. And then he actually goes through with it. Actually poisoning someone and she's dying in front of you. Most people would never even want to see their worst enemy die. Even a person who had done them wrong, someone who they could rightfully despise, a person couldn't endure watching someone else die. That is incomprehensible, but not for Mark Jensen. Julie Jensen was one of the people in the world that he was supposed to care for the most, and even if he emotionally didn't care for her, he should have felt regard for her as the mother of his children. But not only did he poison her, he watched her die, and we know this because of the searches on the computer. We saw those searches the evening before her death and into the night. Low blood pressure, skin turning blue, breathing rapid, unconsciousness. Those are the searches of someone watching another person die and hoping that it will be fast enough. And then when she wasn't dead, when he needed her to be, he killed her by his own hands. It's unbelievable to think about a person actually doing this, except we know that that's what Mark Jensen did. And I am sickened to see the defendant's letter to this court where he uses his kids as a reason to ask for parole. He didn't care about his kids enough to not murder their mother. And now they're a reason for parole. And not only did he kill the mother of his children and watch her die, but the kids saw it too. Nothing is more heartbreaking than hearing what David, as a child, said to the people like his teacher and his friend about his mother dying and begging his father for help and not getting it. Nothing's more heartbreaking than that, except for perhaps the letter the court has received from Douglas. He said that his mother was erased from his life. He said he learned more about his mother while listening to the trial than he had ever heard before. That is a terrible tragedy, and that's what the defendant did to his own kids. When the defendant murdered Julie Jensen, she was 40 years old. Today, she would be 65. The defendant stole 25 years of her life and counting. For that reason alone, the court should impose a life sentence without parole. But in imposing a sentence, I'm asking the court to consider how this case is different from many other homicides, not just due to the extraordinary facts, but also because a lot of homicides are sudden and impulsive acts of violence. That includes domestic violence homicides and shootings and robberies gone wrong. There might be some level of premeditation in murders like that, but very often we have a young person making an impulsively violent decision without a thought for the future. In a case like that, the passage of 25 years might matter. Maybe the 18-year-old who pulled the trigger is very different from a 40-something-year-old being sentenced after 25 years. But that's not the case here. This was not the heat of the moment, but it was a murder with the utmost premeditation. The things that are inconceivable, unimaginable, incomprehensible, and unbelievable to a regular person are things that Mark Jensen actually did here. Because he is a murderer without a conscience, and there's no fixing that. The court has the duty to protect the public from someone who murders a person that he's supposed to care about and watches her die, from someone who inflicts lifelong pain on his own children, from someone who has no morals to restrain him and who will commit any act of evil with the arrogance of thinking that he won't be caught. The defendant has stolen 25 years and counting from Julie's life. He stole her children away from her and her away from her children. He should not breathe the free air outside of a prison cell. And I'm asking the court to impose a life sentence without parole. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's doing the defense argument? Go ahead.
Judge, I'm not going to reiterate the facts of this case. This court sat through 3.5 weeks of the trial and heard all the facts in the case. What I'm going to talk about in my sentencing argument is the character of Mr. Jensen, and then the court has to review the need to protect the public. When we talk about closure and peace, that's more than just shutting the door on Mr. Jensen and ensuring that he never gets out of custody. Closure is about healing. Julie Jensen's family and Mark Jensen's family are still hurting. You can hear that. You see that in the letters. You can hear that in the statements. The wounds are as fresh as they were 25 years ago. Today, the court has an opportunity to help this family heal. And healing could be considered, I'll just shut the door on him. I won't find him eligible for parole. He'll never walk the streets. He'll never have contact with the outside world. But will that be healing for the family? Not just Julie Jensen's brothers, but also the children. The 2 children that they had together, the 2 children that they love, the 2 children that Mr. Jensen continues to support and love and help in any way that he can. It is clear from Douglas's letter that he's angry, that he's hurt, that he's dealing with the death of his mother, that he's dealing with the fact that his father was found guilty of causing the death of his mother. And he doesn't want to have contact with Mr. Jensen at this point, and Mr. Jensen understands that. And he's willing to be there for Douglas if at any point he changes his mind and wants to talk to him or wants to be there with him. The court can see, and the court had an opportunity to hear during the trial, that Julie and Mark Jensen loved their children dearly. They spent all their time with them. When Mr. Jensen got home from work, he would spend the time outside with the boys. He'd go swimming, they'd go fishing, they'd build fishing rods. The family went hiking, the family went camping. This was a family that was very close to one another and were very loving of their children. When Julie Jensen died in 1998, the love Mark Jensen had for his children did not end. He continued to support them, Judge. In 1998, Mr. Jensen was the individual who provided that support to his children, and he didn't try to erase the memory of Julie Jensen. And although Douglas might not remember it because he was 3 when his mother passed away and didn't have all of the memories that maybe David had, Mr. Jensen put together a memory box for them, which included those bronzed booties that parents get for their children. It included letters, it included photos, and he had that memory box for each of his children to have. And they had that, and as Mr. Jensen knows, until 2007 when he was re-incarcerated and his bail was raised. They also had a memory wall of Julie Jensen that included a stairwell from upstairs to downstairs that had pictures of the boys with their mother. Again, that might not be something Douglas remembers because he was very young, but Mr. Jensen at no point wanted to erase the family pictures that they had or the memories of Julie Jensen. And if asked, he would provide any information the boys had of their mother. When Miss Jensen was taken from the family, Mr. Jensen did what he could to try to support the boys in any ways that he can. He went to school conferences, he built fishing poles with David, he taught Douglas how to golf, and they went golfing together. These are the things that he tried to do to help his boys as they mourned the loss of their mother. Mr. Jensen never knew Douglas was afraid at home. The first time he read that is when he read Douglas's letter, and that's heartbreaking to him. He didn't want his son to have that fear. He wanted to be there for his son. He loved his son. He loves his son. And he would have talked to him if he had brought those concerns to him. As the court saw in the pictures that were sent to the court, Mr. Jensen maintained contact with his children all the way through his incarceration. That never stopped. He had phone calls with them. He did video visiting with them. They came in person to visit him. The court can see from the picture from 2019, the 3 boys with him. The blonde-haired boy is Douglas. The other 2 boys are Andrew and David. The court might remember David from when he testified. But he ensured that he maintained that contact with his children so that they would have some parent in their life who could guide them in the best way that he could while serving that time in prison. What Douglas might not also remember is that they would get balloons on Julie Jensen's birthday and release those in memory of her. These are the things Mark Jensen attempted to do so that his boys would know their mother and continue to celebrate her. After Mark Jensen was sentenced to prison, his boys were lost. They lost their mom, and then they lost their father to the Wisconsin state prison system. And during that time, Douglas found out that his boys were struggling. Mark found out that his boys were struggling and continued to try to provide guidance to them. As I said, there were prison visits, there were phone calls, there were messages, and that's something that Mr. Jensen wants to continue to have with his children if they want that. We also know from David's letter that he did feel supported by his father, and he was not afraid at his house. He was a little older when his mom left them in 1998. He would have been 8 years old, and he would have been 17 years old when Mr. Jensen went to prison. During that time, though, Mark found out that David was struggling in school. He was a peacemaker, and he tried to maintain peace in the family, and he just was not doing well. He was struggling at home, he was struggling at school, and all the school counselors tried to help him. They were not successful. So Mark Jensen worked to get him in to talk to a counselor so he could talk to someone he felt safe with. And as David's life continued and he continued to struggle, Mark continued to encourage him to seek out that counseling and seek out that help if he was needed. Same goes for Douglas. He continued to encourage Douglas to get the help that he needs. He knows that later in his life, he did struggle, he did connect with a church youth group, and that church youth group seemed to have a positive impact on Douglas's life. Andrew is the son that he did not have with Julie Jensen. He had that child with Kelly. And in 2009, after he was placed in prison, Kelly filed divorce papers. And after that, she tried to cut off contact between Andrew and Mark Jensen. Mr. Jensen wanted to have contact with his son. His son was only 4 when he went to prison. So he did file action in family court so that he could have those monthly phone calls with his son, because it was important for him to maintain that connection, important for him to give that guidance to Andrew as he was without a father now, as his father was in prison. Mark Jensen is supportive of his children. He will continue to do so whether this court grants parole or not. He loves his boys and he wants to be there for them. When we look at whether the community will be harmed if Mark Jensen is released, we have to look at what Mr. Jensen did prior to 1998 and what he did after 1998. It is clear that if released, Mark Jensen will be a contributing member to the community. He will support himself. He's ambitious and industrious. We can see that from everything in the PSI and everything this court heard. He's always worked. In college, when he was at UW Oshkosh, he started a painting company and employed other students to help him put himself through school and the other students to put themselves through school. He worked for Stifel Nicholas until 2002, and then he was kind of put on leave but still being paid in 2004 while this case was pending. And when he was fired from Stifel Nicholas, he didn't just throw his hands up and say, I'm not going to be able to do anything because I'm charged with a crime. He had boys to support. He had a family to support. So he started working, not in the stockbroker field because he couldn't. His license had been suspended. So what did he do? He went out and started a company. He put an ad in a newspaper. The ad in the newspaper was to do some construction work, and he got a job, even while this case was pending. And he started that remodeling job, he hired some other guys to help him with it, and he finished those jobs. And then he started his own company, which was Jensen Construction Group. He hired some other framers. He had 6 framing crews at one point in the Kenosha community, providing work to others. And they built houses throughout Kenosha. This continued until he was placed back in custody on July 30th, 2007 after the forfeiture hearing. So from 1998 until 2007, when we look at what Mark Jensen was doing, and we look as to whether he can support himself if released from custody and whether he's a danger to the community, the answer is no. He had no violations of the law. He followed the court order, which was that he had to check in with the DA's office 3 times a week and then was reduced to 2 times a week at some point. He never missed an appointment. He checked in and signed in all of those times because that's what the court required of him. He started a company when he lost his job at Stifel Nicholas. He continued to work and provide employment to others so that they could support their families. He's been a contributing member, or he was a contributing member to the Kenosha and Racine community for years. He employed others. He was a member of the Rotary Club, which is a community service-based club. Prior to 1998, he had no contact with the criminal system, no contact with law enforcement unless it was they were called to the house for one reason or the other, which the court heard. That was the extent of the contact with law enforcement. This is not a man who has had any other negative contact with the system. This is a serious offense. That's absolutely true. He has been convicted of a serious offense. But when we look at the need to protect the public, after the time that Mr. Jensen has served in custody, we need not look to anything but those 8 years or 9 years that he was out pending the first trial in this case. And during that time, he was cooperative with the court, cooperative with the DA's office, cooperative with law enforcement. The court heard that any time Detective Ratzberg wanted to speak to him, he came in. Anytime people had questions for him, he answered those questions. When they wanted to search the house, he said, go ahead. When they wanted papers, he provided them. When they wanted him to make a statement, he came into the police department to do so. When they wanted to talk to family members, he provided that information. He was cooperative throughout that process. And during the time waiting for trial, he was not only cooperative with the courts, he continued to provide work and continued to help others find employment in the community, in the Kenosha community. When we look at whether he can follow the rules, which is something that the court would look at if the court granted him parole and provided specific conditions that he had to find. What we need to look at is an institutional adjustment. It was positive, Judge. He spent the last 15 years in custody, and what did we see? One violation, one ticket that entire time, and it's because he had too much ibuprofen during the pandemic. In 2020, he's always worked in the kitchen since he's been at Dodge, the entire time, serving meals 3 times a day. That's the job he's had, and he's kept it the entire time. There's been no late. There's been no missing work. There's no arguments with correctional officers, no fight with other people in custody, no disrespect tickets, nothing. What he got was a ticket in 2020. And what happened during that time is they were pushing those large, heavy meal carts down a ramp in Dodge, and the people behind him lost control of their ramp, and it rammed into the back of Mr. Jensen. Broke a bone in his foot, cut up the back of both of his ankles, and broke a kneecap. So they provided him ibuprofen, and during that time there wasn't a lot of contact with people. So what medical would do was provide an ibuprofen pack, and the CO would provide it to Mr. Jensen, and they advised him to take it as needed. And that's what he did. He took it as needed, and he would keep the rest of them in his room, and when they found out that he had the rest in his room, he got a ticket, and he had to have 16 days of room confinement. And what did he learn from that? If he had extra, give them back, and that's what he did. No other tickets then. He realized what the rule violation was, and when he got a new card from the CO, he would hand the other ibuprofen card back. That's the entire extent of any violations in the 15 years he spent in Dodge after being convicted in 2009. So when we look if this man can follow the rules of this court, if granted parole eligibility, the answer is yes. If we look to whether he can be a productive member of the community, the answer is yes. When we look as to whether the community has to be concerned if Mr. Jensen is released from custody, the answer is no. He spent time after being charged, and he followed all the rules of the court and did not have any negative contacts with law enforcement. We're asking the court to grant Mr. Jensen parole eligibility after 20 years. At that time, he'll be 68 years old. And as this court knows, parole eligibility isn't a given. It's a real-time assessment of whether Mr. Jensen is ready for parole. And some of the things that the parole board reviews for discretionary release, we know it's not automatic, is whether it would depreciate the seriousness of the offense, if there was a risk to the community, and whether there was a reasonably certainty of a crime-free reintegration of Mr. Jensen into society. And I've already addressed those. It is clear that this is a serious offense. And the time that he has served has been significant and will continue even if the court grants parole at 20 years. It is clear that he is not a continued risk to the community. He's had no violations except for that one medical one while serving his time in Dodge, and had no violations while he was out in our community prior to the revocation of his bail. And he had no crime, no criminal conviction prior to that or during that time he was out. We also look at recidivism, Judge, whether he's going to commit another crime. And it's clear from the data, both from the DOC and what we know, is that people that are a little bit later in life are less likely to commit crimes. He's 63 now, and if the court were to grant him parole eligibility, he wouldn't even be considered until he was 68. And what we have found from data is that individuals over the age of 60 have a very low recidivism rate. The other thing the court can rely upon is the PSI and the COMPAS score. Every single one is low, except for the serious nature of this offense. Judge, we are asking the court to grant parole eligibility at 20 years. The hurt and pain these two families feel, that Douglas and David feel, we can see it's the same as 25 years ago. We want this family to heal, not have wounds reopened because of continued litigation, but to have this family be able to move forward. And although Mr. Jensen may have written about his boys because his boys are important to him, it's because he wants to be there for them. He wants to answer questions if they have them. He wants to help them if he can help them. He wants to fish with them. He wants to camp with them. He wants to be there for them in the future as a grandparent if he can and if they want him to. It is clear from the PSI that he's low risk. He has a lack of prior record other than this conviction. He's demonstrated performance while on bail and while in the prison system. He's not a risk to reoffend, and he's not a risk in the community. We ask this court to grant Mr. Jensen parole eligibility. It's a serious offense, but after 20 years, we don't believe that depreciates the seriousness of the offense if it was granted. And as the court knows, that would be determined by a parole board after reviewing all the appropriate factors in this case. Judge, Mr. Jensen is going to make a statement to the court, and then if the court has any questions on credit, I would answer those.
Go ahead, Mr. Jensen.
Judge, I ask you to grant parole eligibility and I ask you to consider the following. I have always sought to be a productive member of the community. To pay for college, I started a home painting business that employed 10 college students and helped pay for multiple college educations. Upon graduating from college, I became a stockbroker. I was a successful broker and branch manager in the community for 21 years. The securities industry is one of the most heavily regulated. During my career as a stockbroker, I had no client complaints or regulatory issues of any kind. When charged, my securities licenses were suspended. To stay productive and support my family, I started a construction company. It is important for the court to know that while I was in bond, I started and ran that business. We built hundreds of homes, employing up to 36 people, while maintaining a perfect compliance record of the bond conditions, including stopping at the DA's office 3 times a week for 5 years to check in. I did not miss once. I took it seriously. I have been actively involved in local service organizations my entire life, beginning with the Key Club in high school and the Rotary Club after college. While in custody at both the DOC and KCJ, I maintained a good record of behavior and work performance. I have always tried to make a difference and do everything I could the right way. Throughout this case, I have worked to maintain good relationships with the family and my boys, and they have supported me throughout. If released on parole, I have the support of the family with any need, including a place to live and transportation, to help me get back on my feet. My parents are 87 and 85, and they need my help. I want to be there to help them and to be able to spend time together while we are able. I have a special relationship with each of the 3 boys and love them dearly. They lost their mom and me during very important years of their lives. David and Doug lost both parents, and Andy lost his dad. All 3 have been through an incredible ordeal over the past 25 years. They each struggled to find their own way, each doing what they needed to do to survive this on their own. It's taken a toll on them. They deserve my help if they want it. I want to be there for them, help them accept the verdict, and help them heal. I know that Doug has expressed anger with me in his current letter to the court. If at any time he wants my help and wants to talk to me, I will be there for him in his time. David and Doug were young when Julie died, and their memories have faded. I'm hoping the time together will help them heal and allow me to help keep family memories alive in a way that a phone call never can. During the time I raised Doug and David on my own, I remember spending time with each of them doing things they loved. David and I would go fishing. We built fishing rods together. We played video games. Doug and I went golfing together. We fished together. We spent entire summers together. Doug was also accompanying me to job sites and helping me during the summer. The 3 of us would go fishing and camp together all summer. Those memories with the boys are some of the happiest times of my life. When I went to prison, Doug was lost. He was sending me letters at Dodge saying that he was struggling without me. I later learned that Doug began cutting himself when he was about 13 years old. I didn't learn that till years afterwards, but I had just gotten to Dodge when this happened. While in prison, I made every effort to continue to be there for my sons. I have always tried to be there in any way I could while serving my prison time. Doug is hurting. I can tell that from the letter he wrote to the court. I wish I could take that hurt away, but I can't. I love Doug with all my heart. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see him hurting like this. If the court grants me parole, I will be there for Doug if he wants me to be there for him. If he doesn't want a relationship with me, I will respect that. I will always be there for him, whether in custody or out of custody, if his feelings change. This case has gone on forever. It's been 25 years. 9 years for the first trial, 16 years fighting for a new trial, multiple trips through all levels of state and federal courts, 3 judges, 2 trials, and both families have been on this journey through the system with me this entire time. David was 8. He's now 33. Doug was 3. He's now 28. Andy was 3 when I was last sentenced in 2008. He's now 19. It has taken their entire lives. And now with the second verdict, I realize this case needs resolution, where there will be no closure for my boys. Most important, I need to consider the needs of my family. They need to be able to put this behind them and move forward so they can heal. I want to be with them in whatever way they need to help them heal. Please grant parole eligibility so that the family and I can move forward and heal. I can work to understand and find acceptance with the verdict. I can be there for my family who needs me. And please provide me the opportunity to show I can continue to do something positive with my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we done then with the defense presentation? Yeah. All right. And then is the defense ready for the court to proceed?
Yes.
All right.
He's going to bring the hammer here.
Well, this was a long trial. And I counted the voir dire days because obviously we were here working. We didn't pick the jury. It took a while. I think it took us up to Wednesday to get a jury. So I have 19 days. I don't have 3 weeks. I have almost 4 weeks. The next comment I want to make, I'm not going to hold it against the defendant that he had his jury trial. Obviously, I cannot consider that. There was a lot of legal issues. Even a defendant in his own statement talked about 3 judges, 2 trials, appeals in the state and the federal courts. This case did take a long time, and as mentioned by the attorneys on both sides,
get the audio back in sync.
25 years later, we're finally coming to a resolution. And it's for both families. That's a long time. Sometimes the justice system works slow, but I think eventually it comes to the right decision. Then I have to obviously look at the sentencing factors that were mentioned by the attorneys. Gravity of the offense, the seriousness of the charge. Obviously, everybody agrees it's a serious charge. It's first-degree intentional homicide. There's no higher felony in the state of Wisconsin. The prison sentence has to be life in prison. I can't change that. The only issue for the court is whether the defendant will be eligible for parole. I will note for the record the pre-sentence report says no parole. The district attorney says no parole. The defense is asking me to grant parole for Mr. Jensen after 20 years, and obviously we have all the requests of the victim's family, again, asking for no parole. I look at the defendant's character, which I have to do. He's well educated, finished high school here in Kenosha, went on to college, obtained good employment. I think the pre-sentence at one time indicated that he was making over $200,000 a year, very successful. Started another business when he couldn't work as a broker. He does have 3 children. He has no prior criminal record. So obviously those factors the court has to take into consideration. The other advantage that I have on this case and
this Cameron's killing
is the trial. It's not like it was a plea and I don't hear all the facts. The attorneys tell me what they want me to hear, and then I have to make a determination. But I did have the trial here, and what I'm going to mention here, I'm looking at Mr. Jensen's letter that he read into the record on page 2. He indicates, now with the second verdict, I realize this case needs resolution or there'll be no closure for my 3 boys. He goes on to say, I can work to understand and find acceptance with the verdict. Well, I watched the trial, and I think the evidence was overwhelming.
Here it comes.
That Mr. Jensen was guilty. And the jury came back with a pretty fast verdict. Some of the evidence that I'm going to mention that I think is overwhelming is the defendant that was in jail with Mr. Jensen, and Mr. Jensen wanted to get rid of a witness. I think the conversation was something to the effect that we need to sit on this witness. And they were plotting this plan not to have this witness available because he gave pretty damaging testimony against Mr. Jensen. And it's Mr. Jensen who's on the jail phone records talking about this. We got to get rid of this witness. Now, why would he do that? We got all the email conversations and the text messages and all the phone conversations that were recorded talking about poisoning, research, years of records. And I know we were amazed how the computers in those days were so primitive, but all the evidence was there. Mr. Jensen plotting this murder. And then the interview with Pleasant Prairie Police Department, where he was untruthful. He denied having an affair with Kelly. It was on the video that we saw. And then all the computer searches, poison, antifreeze. And then all the penis pictures. I mean, that was rather strange. The torture that he put Julie Jensen through. So there's multiple levels of evidence finding the defendant committed the murder. And then I read all the letters, and the issue for parole is, well, I want to be there for my boys. I want to help them, and I want to help my family. Well, that's a good thing. But what about Julie? She has nothing today. She's dead. She's never going to see her children get married, have successful lives, be there for the holidays. He caused that. He's the one that put that in motion. He says, well, now my boys don't have two parents. Well, guess what? He's the one that murdered Julie to get the ball rolling. You know, and then there's other avenues that people can do if they don't get along with people, and that was mentioned by the state. We're all human beings. Sometimes we just don't get along in a marriage and things don't work out, and other people do things that make us mad, and some people stay married and they're unhappy for the rest of their lives, or they work it out. And Mr. Jensen could have had that opportunity. He could have walked away. If he was having a difficult time with his wife, he could have divorced her, separated, or whatever. But he chose not to do that. What he chose to do is to torture her for a long time. You know, this antifreeze, the theory that somebody would drink that to commit suicide, I don't buy that. That's not a way people commit suicide. It's torture. He was jealous. He was vengeful. He manipulated people. He was a control person over Julie, committed a cruel act. And it happened for a long period of time. As mentioned by the state, it wasn't like somebody made a decision to shoot somebody within 10 seconds or whatever, and it's over, and it's a young person. He's a grown adult, married, and he tortured his wife for a long period of time, for years. You know, we go to funerals, and sometimes you wonder, what do I say to the family at a funeral? Well, sometimes we say, well, at least it was a quick death. The person didn't wake up or had a heart attack and they died right away. At least they didn't suffer. Or if they had a major medical issue and they suffered, sometimes we say, well, at least the suffering's over and they're in a better position right now. Well, in this case, there's no doubt in my mind that Julie Jensen suffered for a long time. And the evidence showed that through the trial. She did not have a good life for a period of time that she was married to Mr. Jensen. The harassment, the antifreeze poisoning, the lack of calling a doctor when she was dying, it was a painful death, and it was all caused by Mr. Jensen. You know, I look at the pictures that I have in front of me. They're pictures of Mr. Jensen with his children, but I still remember Julie Jensen's picture that we had during a trial. She was a loving mother. She loved her children. Both sides agreed to that. And she will never get to see her children grow up because she was murdered by the defendant. So this was planned out for a long time. It was intentional. It was researched with a purpose for evil. He's not getting any parole eligibility. It's too serious of a crime to depreciate. It was too vengeful. I have to consider the need to protect the public from any further criminal activity based on all the factors I just put into the record. No parole, life imprisonment. That is a judgment of the court. He can do the rights of appeal in the back.
I already did it. Thank you, Judge.
Obviously, he's not eligible for the programs.
Take it. Since you got it, I'll take it.
And that's the last we'll see of him. Okay. There we go. Cameras are live. What do I need? Just got a little bit of hot mic left from the court. Just one second. Yeah, that cameraman was yo-yo fingers on that zoom. I do love it when the judge finally gets to speak out because he he gets to say everything he's been thinking the whole time leading up to that. He's finally gets to do it. Does he get to appeal again? I'm sure he has appeal rights, but an appeal has to be based on something, right? There has to be a reason to appeal. You can't just say, I don't like the outcome, I'd like to try again. You have to look at the court, and I guess this goes back. This will probably help. It goes back to looking at the first trial where he was tried, and they admitted evidence. The evidence they admitted that was the reason for the appeal was a letter from his wife that she wrote right before she died, basically saying, "Look, I don't trust my husband. I'm giving this letter to you. If I die, open this," type thing. And in the letter it says, "If I die, it's my husband. Something's not right. I'm worried. He's trying to kill me." Basically, that's the letter. You think that would be like the smoking gun, right? Well, the judge allowed it in the first case, and now they said you can't allow it. That because that was allowed, he was not allowed to question his accuser, which is a defendant's right to question an accuser. They say because he can't question the accuser who's saying that it was me. That's a breach of his constitutional rights, and so they allowed the trial to go back, even though he was convicted for life, given life in prison without parole. He was brought out of prison. It took so long that he was kept in prison pending the appeal process to work through. Sometimes on an appeal you're kept out. You're out on appeal. Other times you're in on appeal. He was in on appeal, and this new trial began without that letter. They had to go through all the process again. And it had been so long. You heard how many years it was, right? It took 8 or 9 years just to try him the first time, and then like 16 years to get this appeal. It's been a very, very long time. And some of the witnesses had passed away. Some had moved out of the country. They were not available. So we're watching video footage from like 48 hours, decades ago. It was awful video footage to watch. And of course, the content that the judge alluded to with all the pictures was bad as well. So yeah, I'm sure he has appeal rights that he can file. I just don't think he has grounds for one to be granted. You have the assignment of errors. You have to have assignment of errors for an appeal, right? There's got to be an error and saying this affected the case, and because of that, I got the wrong sentence. There has to be a reason. Your sound is still on one speaker, like my sound now. I'm showing it coming out stereo on my end, Lisa. The court was sending just one side. Actually, the camera, I think, had an onboard camera, the microphone that was picking up sort of ambient audio, so it sounded like an echo, and then a zoom it was wired into the system, and it was picking up the direct sound. But the two levels were about 20 decibels off. Okay, yes. Yes, that would be fun. No third chance. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Hey, look, there's a zebra. It looks awesome. Yes, I did have a request for a zebra, and I thought, sure, I can do that. Emotional proclamation by the judge, very much so. I think the nail in the coffin that the judge possibly might have considered the chance of parole after 20 years, considering he's already served a lot of years in prison. If Mark Jensen had owned up and said, I'm sorry, but he's like, we'd like to heal. We'd like to come to terms with this sentence type thing, like this injustice that's happened to me. And he's like, the evidence was overwhelming that you're guilty. And because of that, no parole. Did you find out about the Haas case is about? Judge mentioned it yesterday during his trial. LJ Gibbs, I just know that there's a hearing today for the Letitia court judge. It's another trial. It's a murder case. But I don't know exactly the details. It should be happening. It may. I don't think it's on WebEx. I don't think that one's on WebEx. So I'm not sure. We might have to have somebody dig through the files to find that. He can file for appeal. Nothing will come of that. That's right. All right. Any other questions about this one that we wanted to talk about? Or Letitia or anything else? Is there anything else you want to talk about? We're going to end for the day a little bit early. So if you wanted to call in and say what you're thinking, or talk about Brandy and JT's show last night, which was a little spicy and crazy off the tracks, all's appropriate right now. Well, most of it is. Let's see. I'm sure. I'm trying to see in the comments here. Half day for RA. Well, actually, what we're going to do, and here's a little confession. My wife filmed last week. She filmed 8 videos for her channel. She does an amazing job. And I messed up the audio on all of them. And she has to redo all 8 because of me. I'm going to help her get set up with perfect audio. We're going to use some of the equipment that's set up in here for this studio to get her set up. She films in the other room, and she uses different lighting. I use 3 LED panels, and she uses a ring light. And we have different devices, different cameras we use. Audio, she uses wireless audio mics like this right here. That's the problem. I had the setting wrong on. But I'm going to go make sure that all her audio is absolutely perfect, so her videos don't have to be remade a 3rd time. And that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go do a little work in the garage. As we get that. How do we mess up the audio? Girl in Texas, I accidentally turned off the pad that lowers the threshold, so it was peaking, and it clipped to the top of the audio off. And she gets excited when she's talking about audio. I tested it with my voice, which is sort of quiet and soft and never gets riled up at all. And I just didn't test it, and I didn't put headphones on and test the audio and hear and check it on a level. So I'm going to do that thoroughly today and make sure it's working properly. But that's it. Just an FYI, I'm going to email a cleaner copy of my parrot soundbite. Hopefully it'll be better. Awesome, Laura. I cannot wait to hear it. Hopefully we can pick that out and have a little soundbite for you. No cinnamon rolls for you. Not at least until I get this audio recorded right for her. I had one job on this ship. You get name that video. Savas Gun, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. Appreciate it so much. Let's see if we got anything else. Love the music you played. What was the name? I call it sad piano. Let me try this. This is really a fun way to do this. I'm gonna turn off my mic for just a second, play the music, and Shazam it.
Sounds like you're listening to Cuando Te Rompen El Corazón by Irene Jodade.
Wow. A little bit of feedback. There we go. Cuando Te Rompen El Corazón by Irene Jodade is what it says. I'm gonna have to screenshot this and put it up on the screen because I don't think I could even type it. Just one second. Okay, send that to my laptop. Give me just a second. We'll have this pulled up. I can hear the kids listening to the show. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna show you this. This is what Siri, when I Shazam it, says the song is. If that's any help. But it's a soft piano. It should, if you search this song on YouTube, it should come up with a copyright-free music. It is part of the YouTube audio library available to content creators that you can use on your YouTube videos without having to pay additional fees for licensing. YouTube's already covered that fee with the artist. It's a flat fee, and it's just able to be used. It cannot be used, generally, they can't be used standalone, like just playing the music. It has to be something in the background or something like that. So you have to check the terms specifically. But hopefully that helps, Cher. It's a fun little song. We found that and used that the first time trial started, and as the lawyer was talking about snot bubbling up and things like that, about how Mark appeared when his wife first passed away. She was expressing all that grief. We played that music, and it was sort of funny. There were other sound effects from the same trial.
Your son,
like this one,
just smeared feces all over my bathroom.
Yeah, just that was a fun one. All right, so Mark Jensen is guilty and life in prison without parole. That happened last week, so we just caught up on that. Can we share your wife's link again? Yes. I say yes. Let me find it. Just one second. I think I need to make probably a hot link to it. Here we go. Okay, this is... Didn't work. Copy. Paste. There we go. It should be this one right here, if I got it right. And Katrina, I trust Katrina's over me. So Katrina's the right link. That's my wife's channel. Her channel is all about homeschooling. It's about sort of family life and raising kids and all that fun. We do have 6 kids together. We have a family of 8. Our oldest is 22 and just about to fly out of state to get, to work all summer and then go to college. He's in college right now, but he's been doing college remotely. So our youngest is still young enough to do crazy things and climb up on the roof and try to jump off onto the trampoline. So Irene had no idea how impactful her music would be for the RA channel. She really didn't, but that's awesome. It is some fantastic music. Sort of funny. It was epic, says Red Pen. 6. Please your hearts. I'm struggling with 1. I have the most amazing kids. I really do. It's fun. Isn't there like a cool YouTube milestone at 20,000 subscribers? Just wondering. I think at 20,000 subscribers, there's a little change to how they allow you to share like merchandise on your channel. It's a very subtle change, I think, at 20,000. It's not a big one. The big milestone for them is the first one is 100,000 subscribers, which I'm not sure if we're ever going to get to. But either way, if I do get there and they do send me a plaque, I can tell you that it won't be better than the one I have right here that I got from the Creative Bee. Debbie sent that over to me when we just passed 5,000 subscribers. It was awesome. Debbie has a channel or a store over on Etsy where she makes plaques like this for other occasions, not just YouTube. But she made this one. It has a little gavel. You can't see the gavel very well. It's right. Oh, this is hard. There's the gavel. It has the pickle on there as well. And just a personalized plaque. 3D, like floats off the background, glitter, sparkles. It's amazing. So highly recommend it. And yeah, you can get her link anytime by just typing !B, and then you can go over and check out her shop. If you ever need a plaque, if there's somebody in your life that's special and you're like, I need to recognize them in a way that's super meaningful and they'll be impactful, this is. I may at some point years down the road get a plaque from YouTube, but it won't mean as much to me as this one does. Honestly, it was just amazing. I'm so grateful for that. Just starting out and showing her showing support was just fantastic. See, any other questions? Tomorrow we're going back to Letitia, so get ready, buckle up. We are going to have audio phone, one more phone call, 29 minutes tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. Chat will be nuts when you have 100K. G. Smith, we're going to have to figure out something like people A through J can chat on a certain day. I don't know how to make that work. All I know is this: the community that's here is different than anything I've seen anywhere else on YouTube. I tell you guys that it wouldn't be the same without you, and it's true. You guys are different than the riffraff on YouTube that you see in so many other places. It's fantastic. I realize that it's harder to communicate when there's a big group, but at the same time, the fact that we have so many amazing people together is just awesome, and I love being a part of it. And thank you so much for that. It is 420 for those that like to celebrate this random day. I'm not a celebrator. I will say that. It's always anniversary for Laura Cooper. Congratulations on your anniversary. Can we buy a mug from another site yet? Michelle, we have the store up on the YouTube channel. So if you go to the channel page, you can go to store, and we're adding products there, but they don't have the same mugs. The mugs they offer, like the ones we have on eBay. I'm going to dump the water on my desk, so I have to drink it first. Hang on. There's too much water. The ones we have on eBay are 15.6 ounces. I think they're huge. They're a good size mug. And I like the two-tone. You get the 5 different color choices. The ones that are available through the site that will integrate to YouTube are like mini shot glasses. They're smaller. The handle's smaller. You can't really grab it like this one. I like the size of this mug. They're not bad mugs. They're just a much smaller cup. So if you want a smaller cup, we can get one set up that way. But it also doesn't have the color selection that we have here. So it's a bit of a trade-off. They also don't have the mouse pad, things like that. But they do have the hoodies. They have some of the shirts and magnets and things like that. We are going to be working, I can tell you this is a surprise, but I'll let the cat out of the bag. We're going to be making, sort of in the theme of recovery and addiction, we're going to be making a challenge coin for the channel. So it'll be a Recovery Addict token. It's not going to be a cheap one. It's going to be a nice one. It's going to be one of typical of what you might find from serving in the military or serving in law enforcement, one of those nice commemorative coins. We're going to do a couple things. First off, all my mods are getting one as a thank you. And then we will make the remnant, because we have to order a certain number because they're expensive to make. The remnant will be available on the store as well. It will be a limited run just because they're expensive. I have to pay for them all up front. You can't do a order on demand. You have to pay for the dies to be formed and everything else. So, but we're working on that. We're working on the designs. If you guys have any suggestions that you'd like to include or put forward for the coin, the obverse or the reverse of that, let me know, and we'll see if we can work in what we can. Obviously, I would need your permission to use any artwork that you wanted included. So make sure it's all artwork that you have the rights to or you've created. And you'd have to give me permission if you want to see it on the coin. But don't forget the article about Ellis's story that she told in prison to a news site. That's the Nancy Grace one, right? I don't know if you already talked about this. She talked to Nancy Grace. She did like an exclusive interview. And in the interview, she said, "I'm not going to tell you the real truth. You can't handle the truth. But let me just say, Al should be arrested for manslaughter." I'm like, seriously? Where in the world did he get that from? And she didn't provide all the details, but she's like, I've been hanging on to this for so long. I've just been keeping mum about it, but now I'll say it's all Al's fault. Wow. Let's see. Mug or B. I think B. I have a fix I need to make right here on my Lumia stream. Okay, I'll look for that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, you guys. Gonna get your run as soon as the stream ends, Sir Breezy. I'm gonna let you get back to your run. I've got to get out and help my wife get the audio set up so that her audio recordings go great. She does a great job anyway. No screeching today. We get a day off. We'll be at 20K before you know it. We have it's been a crazy month. We grew by 6,000 subscribers this month, or in the last 30 days, and I don't even know how that's possible. It was unbelievable. But thank you so much for all of that. It's fun. Overseas shipping. Lisa, if you go through the store on YouTube, they're supposed to route from overseas destinations as well. So there should be some cheaper shipping options on items that are shipped overseas. Obviously, if you buy something through one of like my affiliate Amazon links, that sort of is Amazon shipping, so that's handled differently. But some of the merchandise should have a cheaper shipping than shipping from the U.S. That's what they tell me anyway. Catching up on Brandy's recaps this afternoon. That's an awesome thing to do. She has an amazing channel. She is going, honestly, you heard it here first. She will surpass me in no time. She does such a good job. And JT's not bad himself either. I say that because JT's here. I've just sent you an email. This is so good, says Jacko. Wonderful. We'll look for that. Bring back the cackle, please. Oh, it's back right now. Sorry, it's on just for today. I'll turn it off tomorrow. I think the cackle and the laugh have to be. I'm probably going to leave them off for the duration of the trial, but on days like today, when we're not looking at the trial, we can do that. So the cackle is back for now. I love Brandy and JT. It's so much fun. Let's see. I've got somebody calling in. Let's see who this is.
Call from Jody Allgood.
I'm not a cat.
To accept, press.
Hello, Jody. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. It's Thursday, and we're not listening to Letitia screech. So, what better could it be?
Listening to her screech is terrible, but seriously, like Al, that guy's amazing. I don't even know how he did it.
Yeah, he's a saint.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry, ignore the sound effects. Keep going.
I love sound effects. Okay, Scott. So why didn't they show Al on the witness stand? We even got to see Harley.
I believe he asked for it, and the judge acknowledged.
Okay.
I think it was hard for him to do that. but I don't think he wanted to have that video of him reliving the, basically retelling the hardest time of his life to be out there. And the judge, a lot of times the judge will show that a little bit. Will show a little bit of sensitivity to a witness, especially when there's that request. But both times he was on the stand, we didn't see him. We saw him walk up there. We've seen him in court. He's present. But maybe this judge has a standard. He's like, I don't show the family members of the deceased type thing. But we saw Harley,
right?
So, but she was not
right.
blood relation.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Anyway, okay. Great coverage, and thanks. I am now officially an addict, so thank you very much.
You and me both. Thank you so much. Appreciate you calling in. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Bye-bye. Can anyone find LNT Nancy Grace interview? Yes. Who sent that to me? Was that JT? Did you send that to me? Or was it one of my mods? Let's see. Yes, I think it was JT. Here we go. JT, if it's all right, I'm going to share this. It was a Crime Online link. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to share this on the channel. Right here. This is a long link, so give it a try. I think that points to Nancy Grace. If I just sent you a random link, I do apologize. But I think the date seems right. I think that goes to the Nancy Grace interview. Let's see. Oh, it's the story about it. I'm not sure if there's a video. Hang on 1 second. Is that the right one, JT? Did I send people to the right place? I think I sent people to the wrong one. Hang on. That worked. The article had all the details. Yep. Okay, so let me send the Facebook link as well. JT, is there a better one, the Facebook one? It's the Facebook link. Okay, I'm going to copy that one. Thank you very much. Okay, one more link, just 1 second. And this one I have tested. This is Nancy Grace. Hang on. There you go. There's the Facebook link if you want to go over there. And hopefully people haven't all left. This is the one you should have clicked on in the first place. This is Nancy complaining, not necessarily an interview. Was proving LS. Okay, this is her saying no love lost type thing. Like I didn't say I would verify her. What is it? Her fake thing. Okay, Polly Prissy Pants, thank you for the email. Just saw that, or the text message. I will check that out. I do need a lot of help in that regard as far as designing the coin. Did you miss the car chase? Stay at home, Mom. You did. It's short. It's about half an hour, maybe 35 minutes or so. It is worth it. It's right at the beginning of, it's right after roll call, but that happened this morning. I just watched Mark Jensen's original sentencing, and the judge is our guy, for crumb's sake. He sure is. Let's see. I don't know if Landon will testify. I think she's on the witness list. Not sure if she will or not. I think there are a lot of people on the witness list that won't testify. We've got 147, maybe as many as 153 now, because they added a few witnesses, 152. What is Brandy's channel's name? Tracy, it is Brandy Churchwell right here. If you just type !Brandy in chat, anybody can do it. It will go ahead and reply with this link, and that's how you can get to Brandy Churchwell's channel. She has I think they're starting at 7 tonight. Weatherwatch, who shared Brandy's link, is my podcast partner. We have our podcast that starts at 9 tomorrow night. We'd love for you to be there. It's a lot like today's live stream, honestly. It's sort of laid back, and we're kick back, taking it easy. Let me switch back over here. That was a lot of close up, but we talk about a little bit about court cases and stuff, but really we just talk just random stuff. That's we may even be changing the name of the podcast to be more accurate about what we do, but. we talk a little bit about some news stories that are happening around the world. We interact a lot with chat. We do some fun polls and share a little bit about ourselves. WeatherWatch is going to be dialing in remotely because he's out on. I'll let him explain when he connects. But he's out on the road getting some good R&R and practice in. So that's going to be awesome. You should have a command for Mrs. R.A. I should. I think I will do that. Thank you. That would be a great idea. Letitia said that Al owed somebody money, and that's who killed Gannon. That's why he should be charged with manslaughter, which makes no sense, but that's Letitia. Will Discord be hopping with the half day today? Ivan, I may pop over there once my wife starts recording. If we can get the kids all quiet and doing either schoolwork or doing an activity, I might jump in there just for a little bit. Can you put the link to WeatherWatch's channel? WeatherWatch, can you throw the link in there? He is starting to post some videos, and we are trying to twist his arm a little bit. I told him I wouldn't force him to go faster than he's ready because I know he's busy. But his channel is, as you can guess from the name, focuses a little bit on the weather. And that is good stuff. And there it is. Highly recommend that one as well. Love to see him get a bunch of subs to encourage him to make some more incredible content because he's an amazing guy. Honestly, good friend. New video this morning, another test run. Awesome. We'll take a look at that one. And of course, we'll be in contact tomorrow as we get closer to podcast start time. Okay, there's WeatherWatch right there with the tornado at the end. Looks good. Ordered something from Creative Bee yesterday. Thank you, Nan. That is awesome. What is Mrs. R.A.'s channel? Mrs. R.A. is Homeschool Ground Zero. Honestly, if you're not interested in homeschool, it probably isn't what you're going to be interested in. She focuses almost exclusively on it, and various homeschool methods and things that you'll encounter with homeschool, about legalities, about how to decide if homeschooling is right for you and your kids, and everything in the mix, as well as a little bit of day in the life type stuff of homeschool families. But it's a lot of fun. She does a great job. She's fantastic. I've done one live with her. We'll probably do another, just a live Q&A where people who have questions about homeschooling, about how we homeschool and how we've overcome different things and things we like and things we don't like about it, because both of us we're both homeschooled and publicly schooled, during different periods, and our kids have also. We've got some that have been publicly schooled a portion and have homeschooled all the rest now. So we'll do some of that. But Mrs. Aria's channel is Homeschool Ground Zero. Let's see. I have it copied right here. Copy and paste. I can do this. There we go. There's Mrs. R.A.'s YouTube page. We need a poll on Letitia's hairstyle for tomorrow. Seriously, get it on your bingo card because I think we're going to see 2 or 3 different hairstyles from Letitia. This is something, once she starts, she's not going to stop unless she's forced to stop. And so I think we're going to see some crazy hairstyles from her very soon. Very, very soon. Wish you had the channel when I homeschooled my daughter. It's a rough job. It is, JK, and oh my goodness, it's so much easier when you have a support group. Homeschooling is so incredible. When you have a couple other moms or families that you can get together with and combine and share the load a little bit. If you were interested in doing a co-op or something like that, they're fantastic as well. My kids are adults, but I learned things from Mrs. R.A. It's worth watching. Cass, she is the smartest lady I know. She is incredible. She is incredibly well-read. Like at any time, like any day, I could walk around the house right now, and in each room there's going to be a book that she's in the middle of, that she's reading actively, and that she'll be done with in the next couple days. She goes to the library. She checks out, I think it's like 30 some odd books. We have 2 library cards because they have a limit for how many books you can check out at once. And she does that every 2 weeks. 30 more books, and she devours them, and she does a great job. Hope says, just subscribe to WeatherWatch, and last night was my first time on Brandy and JT's channel, although I didn't make it on long. Hope, Trial by Fire, jumping in yesterday. That was a fun one. My wife is amazing. JT, if you're my wife, sounds amazing as well if she puts up with you. So She's a great person. There are very few people don't like my wife. She's just a genuine smart lady and incredibly kind and patient. Oh my goodness, is she patient with me mostly. Letitia will come in with prison braids, says Lisa. That'll be interesting if she goes that route. Polly says, glad I'm not on camera daily. My hair has it roll out of bed level, don't care level. Co-ops are also good for the kids. It gives them a chance to socialize. Yes, there's that. And some states, a lot of people don't know this, a lot of parents don't know this, but some states, when you homeschool your kids, you have the right, because you're still paying taxes, the same taxes that go to the school that everyone else is paying, the public school, you're still paying that. You have the right to enroll those kids in the school's extracurricular activities. They can be on the soccer team, they can be in the chess club. They can do all these other activities that typically you think, well, they're not enrolled in the school, they can't do that. But in some states, that is something you very much can do, and you're already paying for through your taxes. So it's a wonderful opportunity to keep that social level up, even if you're changing the way they get educated. Have her check out Love at Home Education. Love at Home Education. Let me write this down, because as soon as I stop the live stream, all these great ideas just disappear off my screen. I'll take a look at that. All right, thank you very much for that. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. She's super supportive. Very few folks would put up with my full-time job: mascotting, pro soccer, bowling, 5 pods, and a live stream. She's a saint, I tell you. It sounds like she is. You found a good one, and honestly, all the success in life, I really credit to her. She has been my champion throughout it all. Small ponytail on top for Lori Vallow-Daybell. Is Lori doing funny hairstyles as well? The hair watch. We're on hair watch. All the hairstyles have to hide her tissue ears. She has been hiding it before, but the most blatant I've ever seen of the earplugs was just yesterday. Just right there, standing up while the jury's coming in. She's rolling one and sticking it in her ear. So she doesn't care about that. Maybe she'll have like tissue, like with the whole tissue, and she just puts the part in her ear and then the rest just like floats out on the side of her head. Can that be on my bingo card? If it happens, I called that one first. Will Mrs. R.A. share her cinnamon roll, pretty please? Yes, she's shared it a couple times, but she'll share it again. I can verify that she'll do that. All right, homeschooled kids don't have to take driver's ed course, which is $400. Can Mrs. R.A. homeschool mine? Yeah, the driver's ed, we have to go through the public school here in North Carolina for that as well. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. We promised it was gonna be half a day. We're right 12 o'clock noon right now, so I'm gonna let you guys out for the rest of the day. We will be back tomorrow with more Letitia. It's gonna start at 10 o'clock tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna go all day. We're gonna have a very short break in the evening, and then podcast. So that's gonna be exciting. I needed this break. I really did. Thank you so much for all those who are here. It's fun just to relax a little bit and unwind from the pressure of the trial. It's emotionally heavy, and being here together with you all definitely helps. And get up. Did I miss the whole day off court? Yes, you did. I'm sorry, Glassy. Go back and watch it on the replay. We had a lot of fun here. Next time, we'll catch you here for sure. Lori's been sporting Cowardly Lion hairdo from the Wizard of Oz. That is awesome.
I was kickback, taking it easy.
Yeah, kick back, take it easy. The rest of the day, I've got to go get my wife's audio working for her channel and make sure that works. And then I might be over on Discord later today. I can't promise, just depends what's going to happen. But if I pop in, I'd love to do a little Q&A in the side chat. We had fun doing that yesterday for briefly as well. Have a great day, everyone. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again. We'll be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow. 10 a.m. for Letitia. The phone call. I'll try not to think about the phone call. It's going to be fun. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Turn the lights out on the way out. Thanks, 80s Music Command. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant. I'm not a camel.
I'm not a cat.